Hi students, welcome to the physics paper solution for Grand Test 2 of your All India Test series. I'm Aniruddha, your physics faculty, and I'll be taking you through all the questions step by step. So let's start with them. The first one says that the bullet of mass m and speed v hits a pendulum bob of mass capital M at time t1, passes completely through the bob, bullet emerges at time t2 with speed v2. The pendulum is suspended by a rod and it has negligible mass. After collision, bob can barely complete the full circle, vertical circle, and at time t3, bob reaches the highest position. So in this entire thing, which of the quantities are conserved? First one says about the kinetic energy being conserved of the bob and the bullet. And this statement is incorrect because the kinetic energy can be converted. The kinetic energy of the bullet comes in, but as it is passing through the bob, that is what is denoted by T2 minus T1, during that time, some of the energy may be lost by heat energy, in the form of heat energy. So that is why kinetic energy is not conserved. Next says that the total momentum of the bob and the bullet during the time interval T2 minus T1, and this statement is in fact correct. This is our correct option here because we know that in T2 minus T1, in this time interval, this is the time when the bullet is passing through the bob. So that is the time when the collision is happening. And from the very basic concept of collision, we know that the momentum is always conserved over there. The third statement says total mechanical energy of the bob and the bullet during the time interval T3 minus T1. So again, this is incorrect for the very reason for which the first option was incorrect, that some of it might be going in the heat energy. Now be careful about this. If this was given T3 minus T2, then mechanical energy might have been conserved, because from T3 to T2, the bullet has already crossed out of the bob. So the bullet is moving independently and the bob is moving independently. There is no way for any heat energy to be lost. So if this was given as T3 minus T2, mechanical energy would also have been conserved. But it's T3 minus T1, so it's incorrect. Momentum of the bob after T2 is not conserved independently because as it goes up, you can understand its speed is going to go down. Its mass remains constant, speed goes down, so momentum is decreasing. So correct option is option 2. Next says that 9 kg of mercury is poured into a glass U-tube with a diameter of 1.2 centimeter. Mercury can flow without friction within the tube. Find the oscillation period. Now over here, the force, the restoring force comes about because of this extra level of mercury here. So that creates a pressure. And we can find how much force that pressure would be exerting. So it is 2x rho into g. This is the pressure part, h rho g. H is 2x. The difference in level over here is 2x. 2x rho g, pressure into the area. So that is our force. And from force, we can get the acceleration just dividing this by m. So it's 2x rho g a divided by m. Now since we're dealing with SHM, we know that this acceleration has to be equal to omega square x, where omega is the angular frequency. Now I've ignored the negative sign because we'll only be dealing with magnitudes here. From here on, you can get omega. You can remove the x on both sides. You'll get omega square and omega. So your time period, which is equal to 2 pi by omega, would eventually give you 2 pi into root over omega would give you m on this side, and down below you have 2 rho g into a. Now a is just the area of cross section, which is just pi r square. Here diameter is given to you, so divide by 2, so your radius will be 0.6 centimeters, and you can put that value in pi r square, okay, in the terms of area. Put in the values, ensure everything is in SI units, then calculate, and you would eventually arrive at 3.4. I'm not going into the calculation because from here on it's just the calculation. There's not much to explain there. Let's move on to our next question. It says a 300 kg crate is dropped vertically onto a conveyor belt that is moving at 1.2 meters per second. A motor maintains the belt's constant speed. The belt initially slides under the crate with a coefficient of friction 0.4. After a short time, crate is moving at the speed of the belt. During the period in which the crate is being accelerated, find the work done by the motor which drives the belt. Now, what is that belt doing? So originally, when the block falls, it has zero kinetic energy because it has zero speed. And over the time when it's accelerated, its kinetic energy is increased because its speed is increased. What is its speed made to be? Its speed will match the speed of the conveyor belt. Only then it will stop slipping. So the kinetic energy gained by this block would be half mv square. Half into m, that is 300, into v square, that is 1.2 square. right? This is the kinetic energy gained by the block. And this value, if you calculate 1.2, you cancel 1 with 2, so 1.2 into 6, that makes it 0.6, that makes it 0.72. So this would give you 0.7 into 300 would give you 216 joules, right? But if you take this and mark this as the correct option, you'd be making a mistake, because the motor not only moves this block, but also because as soon as the block hits here, if the motor is turning in this direction, then the block is being pushed by the force of friction, right? The force of friction is pushing it in this direction, kinetic friction, right? And that is what is accelerating it. But there's also the Newton's third law, the same frictional force will also be acting on this belt over here. So the presence of this block is eventually trying to slow down the belt, and this motor has to ensure that that belt does not slow down. So the amount of work that is done on the block, the same amount of work has to be done on the belt as well, because the distance over which this force acts, during which the block moves and accelerates, that same distance is the distance through which this Fk acts on this belt. So even the work done on the belt to keep the belt at the same speed is equal to the work done on this. So your net work done by the motor is 2 times of this. Once because of the kinetic energy given to the block, and second 216 joule to keep the same speed of the conveyor belt. So the total is 2 times of 216, that is 432 joules. Okay, let's move on to our next question. It says that if W net is greater than 0, then delta K is greater than 0, and delta K final is greater than delta K initial. I'm assuming this would be delta K. It would be K initial. So this is statement 1. Statement 2 says that if net force acting on the particle does positive work on it, then kinetic energy of the particle increases. So the first statement is true, the second statement is also true, and the second statement is in fact the explanation for statement 1, because this is just the work energy theorem, which means our correct option is option 1 over here. Okay, so both of them, as you do work, you increase the kinetic energy. Moving on, in both figures all other factors are same, except that in figure 1 AB is sufficiently rough and BC is smooth, while in figure 2 AB is smooth and BC is rough. So kinetic energy of the ball on reaching the bottom. So in the first case, this part is rough, then it becomes smooth. Over here this part is smooth and this part becomes rough. Now at first glance it might feel like the kinetic energy at the bottom would be the same, and if it was perfectly smooth or perfectly rough, it would have been true. But what is the way in which the energy can be lost? So potential energy getting converted to kinetic energy, but in between, where can the energy be lost? The energy can be lost if there is slipping, because if there is slipping, then it's like rubbing against the floor. There is friction which will result in heat energy. So we have to find out in which of these cases that slipping can occur, that rubbing against the surface. Right here that slipping cannot occur, because the friction that is there, that will not slip, it will cause it to roll. We have learnt about rolling, so it will cause it to roll. So there is no slipping, there is no rubbing on the floor to create that heat. It will roll down here, and once it crosses this frictional point, then maybe that it's no longer, there's no more torque over there to turn it. It might slip, but then it's slipping on a smooth surface. And in that smooth surface, you know, there's no energy, heat energy lost. But in the second case, you will see that as it's coming down, it will not start to turn, it will slide down. Right? But there's no problem with it sliding down because this part is smooth. However, as soon as it reaches this rough part, it cannot immediately start rolling. It will go a certain distance over which it will slide. It's just like that conveyor belt example. Right? Over there, as soon as you drop it, it doesn't immediately take up that speed. Right? The friction will act, it will rub on it for some time. So same thing, up till a certain distance, it will take time to catch up with that rolling speed. So it will rub on it for a while and then it will start rolling. So in this case, you will be losing some of the energy in the form of heat energy. So that is why over here the kinetic energy at the end point is going to be less. Over here the kinetic energy will be almost the same. Right? Whatever kinetic energy, whatever potential energy change, here you'll get the same kinetic energy, maybe distributed between rotational and linear, but you'll get the same kinetic energy. So correct option is that it would be greater in case 1, because here it rubs on that part, it does not immediately start rolling. Next one says that a particle of mass 2 kg describes an elliptical orbit of semi-major axis A equal to 5 meters, semi-minor axis B is equal to 3 meter due to an attractive force lambda by r square towards S, where r is the distance of P from S and lambda is equal to 40 Newton meter square. Okay, so over here first it's an ellipse. So we need, if we want to find the velocity, so here they have asked for the velocity at C and A, either of these. Okay, so I'm assuming one of them is going to be 4 meters per second. Anyway, the values have not been given here. You would actually need these distances, the distance of the point of your focus from C and from A, and for that we need the eccentricity of this ellipse. The eccentricity of this ellipse is 1 minus b square by a square. B value is given as 4, A value is given as 5. You put 4 square by 5 square, so 16 by 25, 25 minus 16 gives you 9, 9 by 25, root over of 9 by 25 gives you 3 by 5. Okay, now what does that tell you? That tells you that this distance here is 3 meters and that this entire thing is 5, semi-major axis is 5, that we already know, and then this would be 2 meters. Right, this would be 3 meters, this would be 2 meters. Okay, from here on out we can proceed to a few more things. Firstly, the angular momentum will remain conserved. Angular momentum is going to remain conserved. So let's move ahead. This is comparatively a bigger slide, so I've kept an empty slide here. So the angular momentum would be m into Ra into Va plus, or rather equal to, this would be equal to m into Rc into Vc, because over here Va would be the speed over here, I am assuming it moves in this direction, Va would be the speed here, Vc would be the speed here, right. So angular momentum is from that axle point, so m into Ra into Va is equal to m into Rc into Vc, the masses cancel out. Ra we got as 2 meters and Rc would be your 3 meters plus 5 meters, that is 8 meters. So Ra is 2 Va is equal to Rc was 8, so 8 Vc, or rather Vc is equal to Va by 4, right. So we have got a relation between the speed at those points. Now another thing is that we have to maintain the conservation of energy. Now the energy will involve two things. It will involve the kinetic energy because there is motion, and it will also involve the potential energy because there is an attractive force over here, right. So let's figure out what that potential energy is going to be. We know that F is equal to minus du dr. Here force was given as lambda by r square, but it was an attractive force, so we will use minus lambda by r square, and that is equal to minus du dr, or u is equal to integration of lambda by r square dr. If you integrate this, you have lambda r to the power minus 2 will give you r to the power minus 1 divided by minus 1. So u becomes equal to lambda divided by r, and I think there's a negative sign. Yeah, there's a negative sign over here. Now we can use, so we have got the potential energy relation, we have also got the velocities. So we can now do the conservation of energy. For the conservation of energy, I know that at point A, half m Va square, this is the kinetic energy at point A, plus, or rather this would be minus lambda divided by Ra. So Ra was 2, so lambda by 2 is equal to, on the other side you are going to have half m Vc square minus lambda divided by 8. Now lambda value is given to us is 40 Newton per meter square. You can put that in. The mass value is also provided to us, 2 kg. So then this would become half into 2 into Va square minus 40 divided by 2 would give you 20, and you have half into 2 into Vc, we will write as Va by 4, so that makes it Va square by 16, minus lambda is 40, lambda by 8 would be 5. Right? From here it's all about shifting terms around and calculating VA, and you will get VA would be equal to 4 meters per second. So here the options, we've missed the options here, but one of them would be 4 meters per second. That would be your correct option. Okay, so the key here is that many students will just do with the kinetic energy and try to proceed. Make sure, because there's the attractive force given, that plays a role in the potential energy as well. Next one says that in a typical combustion engine, work done by a gas molecule is W is equal to alpha square beta e to the power beta x square by kT, where x is displacement, k is Boltzmann constant, T temperature. If alpha and beta are constants, dimensions of alpha will be. So we need to do dimensional analysis here. Now here it's alpha square b, and we know that alpha square b has to have the same dimensions as W, because this exponential part will have no dimensions. But we don't know beta yet, so we need to find beta from here. Now over here again, the power of that exponent is going to have no dimensions, which means the dimensions of beta x square should be the same as the dimensions of kT. Now dimensions of kT are the dimensions of energy, which is just mL2 T minus 2. So from here we get dimensions of beta, x square will give you the dimensions L square, and here you have mL square T minus 2, which gives you the dimensions of beta as mt minus 2. Right, we've got the dimensions of beta. Also we know that dimensions of alpha square beta should be equal to mL2 T minus 2, because it should match the dimensions of work done. So if beta is mt minus 2, you can get that alpha square dimensions will have L2, because mt minus 2 would cancel by the dimensions of beta. So alpha square is L2, which means alpha is just L, which is option 2 here. M0, L, T0. Okay, M0 and T0, that just means that M and T are not present in it. Moving ahead, the velocity time graph of a car and a scooter are shown in the figure. The difference between the distance traveled by the car and the scooter in 15 seconds and the time at which the car will reach up with the scooter are. So first you want the difference in the distance traveled by each of them. Now we know in the velocity versus time graph, the distance traveled is given by the area under the curve. Since we're only dealing with this up till 15 seconds, that is why you're only up till this level. So in that level, the area of this triangle we can figure out. The area of that triangle is the area of the distance traveled by car. Let's call that DC is equal to half into base is 15 into the height is 45, right? Yeah, half into base into height, that is 45. That will give you 45 is 15 into 3, so 15 into 15, that's 15 square, 225. 225 into 3 by 2 is 1.5, so 225 plus half of 225, that's 112.5. 220 plus 112.5 will give you 337.5. I know this calculation seems a bit fast, but I'm saying it out loud so that you know how I'm breaking it down to speed up the calculation. So DC, the distance moved by the car is 337.5, I'm assuming it's in meters, and the distance moved by the scooter is it's a rectangle here which has 30, it's just 30 into this distance here, which is 15. 30 into 15 is just 450 meters. So the difference in their distance is 450 minus 337.5, that is 112.5. So there's only one option with 112.5. You can figure that out and give this as correct option. However, I'll also show you how to find the time at which the car will catch up with the scooter. Okay. So just the difference, how much is the difference? It's 112.5. Okay, remember that. I'm going to rub this off. So it's 112.5 meters that they need to cover. That's the difference between them. Now see, beyond this point, here is where we are helped out. Beyond this point, both of them move with constant speed, which means we can get a constant value of relative velocity, right? The scooter is also moving, the car is also moving, car has a higher speed. So the relative velocity of the car with respect to the scooter, you can say is, what was the speed? It was 45. minus the speed of this is 30. So that relative velocity is 15 meters per second. That is the relative velocity between them. And what is the relative distance between them that they need to cover? That is 112.5. So all you need to do to find the time is that relative distance divided by the relative time. Once you do that, you get 112.5 divided by 15. 15 into 7 gives you 105 plus 7.5. 7.5 is half of 15. So 105 plus 7.5 means 7 plus 0.5. Okay, so 7.5 seconds. So you will get this as 7.5 seconds. Now you don't have an option here, but mind you, this is the time after this 15-second mark. So the actual time is 15 seconds plus another 7.5 seconds, that is 22.5 seconds, and this is your correct option. Next up is in a cube of side A shown in the figure, the vector from the central point of the face ABOD to the central point of the face BEFO will be. So over here it's a 3D structure. If you try to visualize at 3D, then you would be complicating things. The best way is understand that this GH is in the same plane as XY. It might be raised, but it's in that plane. So what you can do here is think there's the cube here and you look at it from up top and try to visualize what it will look like. Because if this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, then when you look at it from up top, and you can because it's no longer at an angle, it's in the xy plane only, then you will see it goes from a point of, this is your x-axis, it goes from a point of this, which would be a by 2, because if the entire length is a and the midpoint, it would be a by 2 over here. So it goes from a by 2 on the x-axis to this again would be a by 2 on the y-axis, right? So it goes from a by 2 on the x-axis to a by 2 on the y-axis. And the best way to deal with this, is that you now take this vector out on this side. You shifted it parallelly, vector remains the same. And then you know the y component is a by 2, and you also know that the x component is minus a by 2. So you have minus a by 2 I cap plus a by 2 j cap. So your correct option would be this one over here. Minus a by 2 I cap plus a by 2 j cap. Okay, so the key here is try to look at it from up top. It's much easier to visualize that way. Next is the ball is thrown upwards with an initial velocity v0 from the surface of the earth. The motion of the ball is affected by the drag force equal to m gamma v square, where m is mass of the ball, v is the instantaneous velocity, gamma is a constant. Time taken by the ball to rise to its zenith is. So what is the net acceleration on the ball? The net acceleration is g plus gamma v square. G plus gamma v square, right? That is the net acceleration, because there's also the downward acceleration by gravity, plus there's this force divided by the mass, so you have gamma v square over there. Now this acceleration is dv dt. This acceleration is dv dt is equal to g plus gamma v square. So we have to integrate this. You have dv by g plus gamma v square, because this contains v, I need to bring it together with that dv, and on this other side you have dt. So we need to find the time taken, so you integrate on both sides. This will give you the time, and over here whatever you integrate, so you see this is 1 by a plus bx square, right? Dx by a plus bx square, which is the formula for tan inverse. So just that mathematical formula for integration. If you don't know, just go through your mathematical relation book and you'll get the relation for this as well, and that would correspondingly give you this over here. Just compare. So in your book this would be given as a, this would be given as b in your mathematics book. So just compare the values here and you will see you'll arrive at this relation over here. Where v0, if you want to put the limits also, limits go from, maybe you can put a negative sign here if you want to mention that it goes from a speed v0 to a speed 0, and this goes from 0 to t. Right? I put the negative sign because the acceleration can be considered as negative if you take that as the positive direction of velocity. Okay. Next, a bead of mass m stays at the point PAB on a wire bent in the shape of a parabola y is equal to 4cx square, rotating with an angular speed omega. Value of omega is. So over here, this is the shape. So this is the bowl. Okay, this is a wire. So whatever, it's fixed over there. Think of this as a piece on a bowl as well. Now there are two forces acting on it. You have the force of gravity, that is mg on this side, and you have the centrifugal force. Pardon me. You have the centrifugal force m omega square r on that side over there. Okay, and be very careful that omega square is always, since it's rotating in this axis, the plane in which it is rotating, in that plane that m omega square r has to be. Now it can either slide down or it can go up. What is telling it, if it stays there, that means the two forces, one on this side and one on this side, they are balancing each other out. So the force on that side is, let's assume this angle is theta. If this angle is theta, then the force on this side is m omega square r cos theta. And the force down here is mg, this would be sin theta. Right? So for it to stay balanced, you want, again, a few options. Okay, here we have the options. So m omega square r cos theta is equal to mg sin theta. Cancel out the masses, you want omega here, so it becomes omega is equal to root over of g by r into tan theta. Right, root over of g by r tan theta. R refers to the radius of that orbit, which is just this distance. Just this distance. And you see, because the coordinates, I've drawn over this, but because the coordinates are given as a comma b, a itself is this, because a is the x coordinate and that has to be the radius. So your r is a, that we got. But what is tan theta? How do we figure out tan theta? You see, tan theta is the slope of a line, and the slope of a line is also given by another relation. Let's do it out here. Tan theta is the slope of a line, and that is also equal to dy dx. You have to recognize that we need to use this, because as soon as you see a relation like this, because you know there's some way that you need differentiation, otherwise they wouldn't have given you a relation like this. So once you differentiate y, you get it as 8cx, right? So 2 comes out, you have 8cx over there, and that is this gives you the angle at a position x. That is where you see the slope is changing. As you change x, the slope is increasing, right? Now at this point where we are dealing with, the value of x is a. So the slope at that point would be 8ca, and that is what we put in here, root over of g divided by a. Mind you, I told that r is equal to a, and tan theta we got as 8ca. A's cancel out, you have this as root over of 8gc. Root 8 is just 2 root 2, so the correct option is this over here. Okay, let's move on to our next question. This says that on the x-axis, at a distance x from the origin, gravitational field due to a mass distribution is ax divided by x square plus a square to the power 3 by 2. In the x direction, magnitude of gravitational potential on the x-axis at the distance x. So this is pretty straightforward. Again, uses the same relation that the potential V is equal to integration of E dot dx. So I'll not go too much into it, but just put in the relation over here. I'll not do it in here, that would be wasting a bit of time. So you just put in the relation for A here, integrate it, and you would arrive at your correct relation given by, I'm assuming, this. Yeah, again you can recognize this, right? You can there are gravitational or electric field formulas where the electric field is given by this, and from there you know the potential is going to be this. Okay, such as the dipoles and everywhere. So you can recognize, you can compare even and get the answer a lot quicker. Next, a body of mass m is equal to 10 to the power minus 2 kg is moving in a medium, experiences a frictional force F is equal to minus kv square. Its initial speed is v naught, 10 meters per second. After 10 seconds, its energy is 1 by 8 v naught, 1 by 8 m v naught square. So first up, since v naught is given, and I know originally the kinetic energy was half m v naught square, And if later on the kinetic energy becomes half v naught square, that means the speed has decreased because the mass cannot decrease. And just by this you can tell that the new speed v dash would be v naught by 2. How do I know this? Because I can write this half 1 by 8 m v naught square as half into m into v naught by 2 whole square. So that is how I know that the speed now has become v naught by 2. That is the new speed over here. Okay, we need to find the value of k. So the mass is given, frictional force is given. All right, so again the acceleration is minus k by m v square. So dv dt is equal to k by m v square. Again, you can keep the negative sign, you can remove it since we are dealing with just the change over here. And from here on it's integration. So integration dv by, you can just bring the v square in here, and this would give you minus k by m into t. V goes from v naught to v naught by 2, v naught to v naught by 2, and the time goes from 0 to 10 seconds, right? Time is provided to us, it's given us 10 seconds. So from here on out dv will give you minus 1 by v, right? It will give you minus, give you minus 1 by v equal to minus k by m into 10 seconds, whatever k value we need to find out, minus 1 by m. So this is just v naught minus v naught by 2. So if we, my bad, since we already put the negative sign, we could have kept it as v naught by 2 down and v naught here. Essentially it's just you need to remove the negative sign, right? And you would have essentially the relation as v naught by 2 into m divided by 10, that is equal to your k. Now all the values, v naught is given, mass is given, 2 is there as it is, so you can find k, and your k value will come out to be 1 over here, right? So it's basic integration, not like the previous tan inverse integration, it's a standard integration over here. Moving on, the potential energy of a function of r is given by u is equal to a by r to the power 10 minus b by r to the power 5. R is interatomic distance, a and b are positive constants. Equilibrium distance we need to find out. Now at equilibrium, what do we know? We know the force is 0. They have not asked us for stable or unstable equilibrium, so no need for the double derivative. Just the first derivative of this equal to 0 is enough. Why? Either you can treat it as a maxima minima, or you can treat that the force is 0. Now force to minus du dr, that has to be equal to 0. So you just differentiate this, differentiating this will give you minus 10 a by r to the power 9, right? Yeah, and this would give you minus 5 will come out, so minus plus 5b r to the power 4, and that has to be equal to 0, right? From here on you can just shift the terms around and you will get r to the power 5 is equal to 10a by 5b, that is 2a by b. So r becomes equal to that, r or r naught, whatever the equilibrium distance, becomes this thing to the power of 1 by 5. So it's 2a by b to the power 1 by 5. That is our correct option here. Okay. Next one, a fluid is flowing through a horizontal pipe varying cross section, speed v meters per second, at a point where the pressure is p pascal. At another point, pressure is p by 2, speed is capital V meters per second. Density of fluid is rho kg per meter cube. The flow is streamlined, v is equal to. So Bernoulli's theorem, p plus half rho v square plus rho gh is a constant, or on 2 points it would be p1 plus half rho v1 square plus rho gh1 equal to on the other side. Now the h is same because they have said it's a horizontal pipe, which means at the first point pressure is p plus half rho small v square is equal to the other point where the pressure is p by 2 plus half rho capital V square, right? Because at the second point the speed is capital V. From here on we need to find capital V. So p by 2 brought over on this side makes this also p by 2. So P by 2 plus half rho V square is equal to half rho capital V square. It's just P by 2, I brought it on this side and subtracted. Then it's just shift the terms around, the two 2's will cancel out. This rho, when it comes down, this will make this as P by rho. Here it will cancel out the rho, keeping it as just V square, and that is V square over there. So V would be equal to root over of this. So do we have an option going by that? Yep, it's option number 4 here. Okay. Next question says that the temperature of the outer surfaces of a composite slab consisting of two materials having coefficients of thermal conductivity K and 2K, thickness X and 4X respectively are T2 and T1. The rate of heat transfer through the slab in the steady state is. Now we know that over here we first need to find the thermal resistances, because here the two of the materials are connected in series. So the thermal resistances will be added up in series. What is the relation for the thermal resistance for each case? For the first one, it is L divided by Ka. So for first one, let's keep it R1. R1 is, first one, the length is X, L divided by K into A. The K value is just K and the area is A. Have they provided us with an area? Yeah, the area would be A. Since there is A here, we are assuming the area is A. And for the second slab, the other one, R2, the length is 4x divided by the constant is 2k into A. That is 2x by Ka. Now we can find what the equivalent thermal resistance is. The equivalent thermal resistance is R1 plus R2. R1 plus R2, so that would make it 3x by Ka. Okay, that is our equivalent resistance. Now we want the heat transfer, the rate of heat transfer. So the rate of heat transfer is that Q by T, that rate of heat transfer is equal to, let's create a partition here, the rate of heat transfer Q by T is just that T2 minus T1 divided by R equivalent. If you put that in here, you see the Ka goes on top, the 3x come down, so we have to compare it, and the only thing over here is that instead of this we were getting a 3x, right? If we put that here, which means F has to be equal to 1 by 3, right? Next one, 1 mole of an ideal gas is taken through the path ABCA as shown in the PV diagram. Maximum temperature attained by the gas along the path BC is. Now see, in the path BC, you want to find the temperature is changing, you want to find what is the maximum temperature, right? So it's rather where the PV becomes maximum. But the best way to do this is to first find the equation of the straight line. The equation of the straight line, if you know the equation, how to find the equation of a straight line from 2 points, it is y minus y1 equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. Again, a mathematical relation. So we'll take perhaps this point as point 1, this point as point 2. So P minus P naught is equal to y2 minus y1, that is 3 P naught minus P naught divided by, this is over here V naught minus 2 V naught multiplied with V minus, which one was our V1? So it was 2 V naught, right? So from here on out we have a relation for P. Relation for P would be equal to, we send it over to that side. If you want, you can open this up if need be. V naught minus 2 V naught. I would recommend that you keep that for later, because so far these are all constants. V minus 2 V naught plus P naught, right? And okay, so besides this, you also know it's an ideal monoatomic gas, which means it will follow the ideal gas equation of PV is equal to RT. I think this is a long one, I might have left a slide free for it. Okay, so I have a slide free, so we'll take everything over to that side. But as of now, we know PV is equal to RT, which means P is equal to RT by V over here. Okay, P is equal to RT by V. So let's put that in there in the other relation. This is going to be a comparatively longer sum. RT by V is equal to 3P minus P naught, that is just 2P naught by minus V naught. So minus 2P naught by V naught multiplied with V minus 2V naught plus P naught. V minus 2V naught plus P naught, right? Let's cross multiply stuff here. So our T is equal to minus 2P naught by V naught into R, and the V we take it in, so this becomes V square minus 2V V naught plus P naught V by R. Okay, I know it's a pretty long sum, but bear with me over here. So I'm hoping I did everything, I didn't make a calculation mistake. Now what does this relation give us? This gives us a relation of temperature. We wanted the maximum temperature with regards to only one of the variables V, and we want to find what the maximum temperature is, which means in this relation we need to find the maxima. Okay, so how do we find the maxima? It's just dt dv has to be equal to 0. If you differentiate this with respect to V, so this gives you minus 2 P naught V naught R, this gives you 2V minus 2V naught plus P naught by R over here. Now again this has to be equal to 0, which means I get P naught by R is equal to minus 2 P naught by V naught R 2V minus 2V naught. P naught by R's cancel out, you get the P naught by R's cancelling out, you have V naught going over to the other side, and then your equation becomes, my god, your equation becomes, this is a pretty long sum, V naught is equal to minus 4V plus 4V naught. So V is equal to, so you can send 4V on this side, that goes over to the other side, that makes it 3V naught by 4. I'm assuming I made a mistake somewhere in a calculation, because this cannot be 3V naught by 4. The reason for that is that the minimum volume is V naught maximum, so it has to lie somewhere between V naught and 3V naught. So this is how you figure out. So I've made some negative sign, I've missed out somewhere. Where have I missed it out? That is what I am trying to figure out. So it's 2V naught, V naught minus 2V naught. Anyway, I'm assuming it will take a while to find that, but as far as I recall, it should give me, the correct one should be V is equal to 5 V naught by 4. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments where I made a blunder with a negative sign. Let me know in the comments down below, so that the other students are also helped out. I won't go searching for it because it will take a while, and V would be 5 V naught by 4. So from there we can put that in our relation for temperature. This is the volume at which you will get the maximum temperature, right? That is what the maxima we got. So we put that in here. That will, again, you put in the values. I need to rub off a lot of stuff here. So over here, if you put that value of V, you will get T is equal to minus 2 P naught by V naught R into V square will give you 25 V naught square by 16 minus 2 into 25, so 10 V naught square by 4 plus P naught, so 5 P naught V naught divided by 4. Right, from here, as far as I recall, again you can do the calculation, but if I am recalling correctly, it should give you 25 by 8 P naught V naught R. Again, let me know in the comments where I have missed out, and that would help the other students as well. I don't want to waste time with regards to this video, so I'm moving on to the next question. It says that a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen has volume 500 centimeter, this would be cube, 500 centimeter cube, temperature 300 Kelvin, pressure 400 kilopascal, mass of 0.76 gram. The ratio of masses of oxygen to hydrogen would be, so this question I'm assuming 2021 or 2022 itself, this has come, or maybe even 2020. So in the last 3 years, this question has come in JEE main. So the way we do that is that this hydrogen and oxygen are together there. So it will follow the ideal gas law of PV is equal to nRT. nRT, or N is equal to PV by RT. So here this N represents the number of moles of hydrogen plus the number of moles of oxygen, the entire number of moles of the gas. Now we put the relations in here. The pressure is given as 400 kilopascals. So 400 into 10 to the power 3 multiplied with the volume, that is 500 centimeter cube. So 500 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by, so first I put the temperature in, that's 300, and this R value, now we know R is 8.314, but if you put R 8.314, then this calculation will be very complicated. So the convenient formula to put here for R is 25 by 3, because 24 by 3 is 8. So you'll just increase slightly, make it 25 by 3, and that would be your 8.314. Why is this useful? Because now this 3 cancels over here, gives you 100. Then these two zeros and these two zeros, 10 to the power 4 cancels with this to give you 10 to the power minus 2, right? 10 to the power minus 2 cancels over here to give you just 10, and that 10 you can cancel out from elsewhere. You can cancel out from here to leave you just 10 here, and 4 into 5 would be 20. 20 divided by 10, you'll eventually get this as 2 by 25. That is the total number of moles N over here. And this N, that's 2 by 25, is equal to, we want the mass of oxygen and hydrogen. So mass of hydrogen divided by 2 plus mass of oxygen divided by 32, right? Because this is the mass divided by the molar mass. That gives you the number of moles of hydrogen plus mass of oxygen divided by molar mass of oxygen, number of moles of oxygen. Together those two number of moles is 2 by 25. So this is our first relation. The second relation is stated right here. It says that our MH plus MO, the total mass of the gas is 0.76 gram. Okay, it is 0.76 gram. So again, if you solve this out, MH and MO, you will get the ratio of the masses of oxygen to hydrogen as 16 by 3. Solve these two out and you will get it. Next, it says that if the amplitude of a simple harmonic oscillator is double, its total energy becomes 4 times, because total energy is directly proportional to square of the amplitude of vibration of harmonic oscillator. So both statement 1, statement 2 is true, and statement 2 is the correct explanation, because we know this energy was in fact proportional to A square, right? That is why if the amplitude is doubled, you get 2 squared, that will make it energy as 4 times. So this statement is correct. We have another horizontal force is applied at the top of an equilateral triangular block having mass m and side A as shown. The minimum value of the coefficient of friction required to topple the block before translation would be. So when would this get toppled? So firstly, if I am pushing from this side, it will get toppled about this point. This would become the axis of turning, right? So what is the torque? What is the torque of this force about this point? This is the perpendicular distance, right? Torque, because of this, tau F is equal to this F multiplied with this distance. Now this is an equilateral triangle of side A, which means this distance, this part here is root 3a by 2, right? So that itself is this distance here. So the force into the perpendicular distance is F into root 3a by 2. Now this is the torque that tries to turn it in that direction. What is the other force that is resisting it? That is the force of gravity, which acts from here, right? It acts from here straight down, so that is mg. And the perpendicular distance of that force from the axis again is just a by 2. So you actually have this torque has to be greater than the torque because of this, which means your F into root 3 a by 2 has to be greater than or equal to, at least in order to turn it, than mg into a by 2. Okay, so at least that has to be greater than or equal to, only then it can turn. So from here you can cancel out this a by 2 and you get F has to be greater than equal to mg by root 3. Now it says that you also want that there is no translation. So what is able to stop the translation? If there's a force applied, F in that direction, this block should have started moving. What is stopping it from moving? The force that is stopping it from moving is the frictional force. So the limiting value of the frictional force has to be at least greater than or equal to this F. So we'll, for the sake of it, since we want the minimum value, so we'll assume that this force is equal to the limiting friction, which means F is equal to your mu n, right? N is the normal reaction force, which comparing with this and this, if we bring them together, we also figure out that mu n should be greater than equal to mg by root 3. Right, n should be greater than equal to mg by root, mu n should be greater than mg by root 3. So n is just mg, greater than equal to mg by root 3. Cancel out the mg's on both sides, you get mu is greater than equal to 1 by root 3. So the minimum value of mu possible is 1 by root 3 over here. Okay. Now I think we have the numerical ones here. We have the numerical ones here. So it says that a soap bubble of radius r is blown up to form a bubble of radius 2r under isothermal conditions. If sigma is the surface tension of soap solution, energy spent in doing so is x into 4 pi sigma r square. We have to find x. So originally the soap bubble had a radius r. So we know the energy of the surface tension comes about because of its surface area. The more surface area, the more energy. So originally the surface area is 4 pi r square, right? This is your say A1 is 4 pi r square. When you made it into a bubble of radius 2r, then your surface area becomes A2 is equal to 4 pi into 2r square, right? So from here on, we know that the total energy, the change in energy is equal to T into delta A. However, you have to be careful of one thing, because it says that it's a soap solution, it's a soap bubble. A soap has two surfaces. For the same layer, it has two surfaces, which means the total change in energy is 2 times. That is why for soap bubble pressure formula, you had 4T by R instead of 2T by R. Now, this T, or rather, since it's given here as sigma, so we'll write it as sigma only. So you put that in there, you have 2 sigma multiplied with 4 pi into, this is 4r square minus r square, that is 3r square. That makes it 4 pi sigma r square, and 2 into 3 makes it multiplied with 6. So your x value is 6. That is the correct option. Okay, correct answer over here. Next one says that 3 objects A, B and C kept in a straight line on a frictionless horizontal surface. These have masses small m, 2m and m respectively. Object A moves towards B with a speed 9 meters per second, makes an elastic collision with B. Thereafter, B makes a completely inelastic collision with C. All motions occur on the same straight line. Find the final speed over here. So between m and 2m, you have an elastic collision, and there are direct relations to find what the speed of the two would be after the collision. So since we are finding it for the second one, we want the speed in the second one. That is given by V2 is equal to m2 minus m1 divided by m2 plus m1 multiplied with u2 plus 2 m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2, right? So that is the relation for V2. V2 would be the final velocity of the second block. Now put in the values here. Originally this part is not going to give you anything because U2 is the initial velocity of the second block, which we know is 0, it was at rest. So the only part here is this part over here. M1 is the mass of the first block, that is just M. So 2M into, so V2 would be equal to 2M into, the speed of the first block is 9 meters per second, 2M into 9 divided by M1 plus M2, that is M plus 2M, that makes it 3M. Cancel out the M's, you get V2 is equal to 6 meters per second. So that is the speed with which the second block moves over here. Now once it moves, it makes a completely inelastic collision, which means they stick together and move. Now we use the conservation of momentum. We know that the initial momentum of these two is just the momentum of this, that is 2m into 6 mass into the velocity is equal to, now they have stuck together to become a mass of 3m into whatever speed they will have at the end. So from here on, cancel out the masses, you can get 2 out here, so your V will be equal to 4 meters per second. That is your correct answer. Okay, the speed of object C is also the speed of object B because they stick together now, that is 4 meters per second. Our answer is 4. Next, it says that a circular platform is mounted on a frictionless vertical axle. Its radius r is equal to 2 meters. Its moment of inertia about the axle is 200 kg per meter square. It is initially at rest. A 50 kg man stands on the edge of the platform and begins to walk along the edge at the speed of 1 meters per second relative to the ground. Time taken by the man to complete one revolution in k pi seconds is. So now with regards to the man and the surface and the friction and the circular platform, you want the angular momentum to remain conserved. So originally angular momentum is 0 because neither is the surface moving nor is the man moving. So afterwards the man starts having an angular momentum which would be given by mvr. So the mass of the man is provided as 50 kg, m, his speed with respect to the ground is 1 meters per second, m, v into, we need the r value is provided, how far, the radius is r is equal to 2 meter and that is, he stands on the edge, so r is 2 meters. So that angular momentum has to be countered by the angular momentum of this circular platform. Now that angular momentum is I omega, moment of inertia is given 200 kg per meter cube, 200, and omega is what we need to find, omega of, let's keep this omega p, that is the angular momentum of the platform. From here this is 100, this is omega p, so omega p will come out as half radians per second. Okay. Now we have got the angular momentum of this. Now see, that person is also moving with an angular momentum, this is also moving with an angular momentum, and you want the relative angular momentum because the actual, in order to complete the circle, the person might not have to complete the full circle, he might go a bit, and because the disc itself, the platform is itself moving backwards, he will cross over that, right? It will come maybe half the distance only, he'll be able to complete it. So let's see what the relative angular velocity is. Firstly, the angular velocity of the man is given by V by R. V is 1 meters per second divided by the radius is 2 meters. So again, half radians per second. Right? Now mind you, don't think that it's the same. They are in opposite directions. Man is walking in that direction, disc is rotating in this direction. So the relative velocity between the man and the platform is just half plus half. Okay, because it's added up. They are in opposite directions, so it's added up. So half plus half makes it 1 radians per second. And that is why in order to complete a full circle, the total time taken is 2 pi divided by 1, that is just 2 pi seconds, which means your k value is equal to 2 over here. Okay. The next question says two bodies of mass 1 kg and 2 kg move towards each other in mutually perpendicular directions with velocities 3 meters per second, 2 meters per second. If bodies stick together after collision, what will be the value of heat? So what is the net momentum initially? Don't try to resolve it into components and do. One is coming in this direction, another is going in this direction, right? So the net momentum the net momentum is given by root over of m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. M1 v1 whole square plus m2 v2 whole square, which means 1 into 3 whole square plus 2 into 2 whole square. Where does this come from? This is the momentum in the x direction, this is the momentum in the y direction. So x square plus y square. That's all. That's how you get the resultant momentum. This gives us a value of 9 plus 16, that's 25. So this gives us 5 kg meters per second. Okay, so we have got the initial momentum. Now they stick together and move, which means they will now have a mass of 1 plus 2, 3 kgs. 3 kgs multiplied with whatever speed they move at, and that same momentum has to be equal to the initial momentum, so 5. Therefore, V is equal to 5 by 3 meters per second. Now you want what is the heat liberated, and that will be the difference in energies in the two cases. In the first case, the energy liberated is half into 1 into V square. The V square of this was 3 square, half mv square for the first body, plus half into 2 into V square is 2 meters per second, so 2 square for the second body. That gives you, this gives you 9 plus 4 into 2, 8. 9 plus 8 is 17. That is 17 by 2, right? Joules. And in this final case, it is given by half mv square. Total mass now is 1 plus 2, 3 kg. So half into 3 into 5 by 3 whole square, half mv square. So that makes it 25 by 9. Cancels out, keeps it 3, makes it 25 by 6 joules. Okay. So the net heat energy released is equal to kinetic energy of the initial minus kinetic energy of the final. So it's 17 by 2 minus 25 by 6. It's 25 by 6. So if we keep the same denominator 6, then 17 into 3 takes it to 51. 51 minus 25 gives it 26. 26 by 6. This would be 26 by 6, goes with 2, makes it 13 by 3. So the heat liberated would be 13 by 3 joules, but this is just a little more than 4. 4 would have been for 12 by 3, little more than 4. So since you have to round it off, if you read the paper instruction, you have to round it off. So the answer here is going to be 4 joules. Okay. Next question says that a vernier caliper non-standard is constructed which has one main scale division of length 1 mm and 20 vernier scale divisions measure 18 mm. In an experiment, 0 of vernier scale lies between 0.4 and 0.5 on main scale. Second division of vernier scale coincides with main scale division. When a cylinder whose diameter is to be measured is kept between the jaws, 0 of vernier lies between 2.4 and 2.5 on main, and 12th division of vernier coincide with main scale. Now, right off the bat, you see 20 vernier scale divisions correspond to 18 mm, right? Now, that just means that it is here to confuse you, because these two should not be, they cannot be simplified further, which means 18 by 20 is just 9 by 10. Right? What does this mean? This means that it's just they've made the vernier scale longer. If the 18th division is matching with the 20th division here, that means even the 9th division is matching with the 10th division over here. So anything above 10, any number above 10, you just subtract by 10. So like over here, they've said the 12th division matches, right? 12th division matching means the second division matches, because 12th matching there means before 10, even the second will match. If 13th division matches, that means even 3 will match. Whenever you see that these two can be divided by a common integer and get whole numbers, you will know that it's just repetition. So it's just that 10 matching, then you add another vernier scale on top of it. Doesn't really make sense. Only this value will be important. Right? I'll show you why that is important. Because Over here, see, first up the least count. So we don't have a lot of space here, so we'll do the least count. Least count is just going to be 0.1 millimeter, right? How do I know that? Because it's just 10 vernier scale divisions corresponding to 9 millimeter. Think of it that way. Least count is this. Now first we need to find the zero error. Zero error is greater than 0.4 but less than 0.5. Which division matches? Second division matches, which means your zero error is equal to your 0.42. 0.42 centimeters. 0.4 originally from the main scale reading and second division matches, so 0.02 centimeters. Remember, this is centimeters, this is 0.1 millimeter or 0.02 centimeter, however you want to see it. That is zero error. This is a positive zero error. Now in the scale reading, when you're actually measuring the diameter, it says it's 2.5 centimeter, it's 2.4 to 2.5. So we'll take the lower value obviously because it's just crossed 2.4. So our actual reading is equal to that 2.4 centimeter plus the vernier scale reading. Now it says 12th division. 12th division means second division, like I told you. Okay, 12th division is just second division. So it is just plus 2 into 0.01. Just 2, you'll take that as 2, right? And then since it is a positive zero error, we need to subtract that. So minus 0.42. If you do that, you will get this as just, this entire thing is in centimeters, that is important, says 2 centimeters. So your correct answer, the diameter of the cylinder is going to be 2 centimeters here, or the answer is 2. Okay, so be very careful, this is there to confuse you. If you see that even numbers are matching, then it's just repetition. Even if it was 30 and this was 27, even then you know it's just repeated thrice, that's all. Even if they have given you a reading of 27, you know that's just equal to 9. Fine. Next it says a uniform solid sphere radius r is placed on a rough horizontal surface given a linear velocity v0 and an angular velocity omega naught. If the angular velocity and the linear velocity both become 0 simultaneously, then x v0 is equal to 2 omega naught r. So we know that the angular momentum about any point is equal to the angular momentum of the center of mass, plus angular momentum about the center of mass, right? Angular momentum about center of mass, and that has to remain conserved always. That remains conserved. Now initially the angular momentum of the center of mass is mv0 r, right? mv0 r, r is the radius given over here, right? This has to remain conserved. This has to remain conserved. So angular momentum of center of mass is mv0 r, and angular momentum of the entire body about the center of mass is, since this is a sphere, they have said it's a solid sphere, radius r, turning, the angular momentum is 2 by 5 mr square, small m, mr square multiplied with omega naught. That was the initial momentum, right? And these would be subtracted. These would be subtracted over here. Why? Because they are in opposite directions. You see, this is in that direction, whereas this turns in the opposite direction, right? This, if you would have considered only this omega naught, it should be trying to take v naught in this direction. So that is why they are opposite, and that has to be equal. This is the initial when you just launch it, and it has to be equal to the end point where you know that the linear velocity and angular velocity are both 0, which means this has to be equal to 0. At the end, the angular momentum becomes 0, which means this has to be equal to 0, initial has to be equal to final. From here on, just shift the terms around. You have mv0 r is equal to 2 by 5 mr square omega naught. So you cancel out 1 r on this side, cancel out the masses, you send the 5 over to that side, you have 5 v0 is equal to 2 r omega naught, which tells you that just compare this with that relation, then your x value is equal to 5. If you want to do it in another way, don't want to use the standard relation, you can even use friction. right? You know which direction friction is and how friction is going to oppose it. So friction will be in this direction, and friction will provide a force. That force will cause an acceleration that causes it to slow down, and also about this point, that friction will give a torque that also slows this down. So you find the angular acceleration that comes about because of the torque by the friction, and also the deceleration that comes about by the force of friction for the linear case. Then just equate that, how long it takes for this to go to 0, how long it takes for this to go to 0, equate the times, you'll again arrive at this relation. Okay, so you can even proceed that way. So the next question says that two blocks A and B, each of mass small m, are connected by a massless spring of natural length L and spring constant K. The blocks are initially resting on a smooth horizontal floor with spring at its natural length as shown. Third identical block C, also of mass m, moves on the floor with a speed v. So this comes in along the line joining AB, collides with A. We want the kinetic energy of the AB system. So initially just equating the momentums, this comes in with mv, and then they both start moving with the speed capital V, right? Which means that again you have mv plus mv over there. Now besides this, you also have the conservation of energy, right? Now the energy conservation comes about because the initial kinetic energy is half mv square is equal to half capital mv square. My bad, this should be small m over here, this would be small m here, plus half of small mv square plus half k x square, because that energy is also given off in the compression of the spring, where this is the maximum compression of the spring. Now in that case, from here and using that as well, we can get out what x is going to be. So I won't go into the calculation here, I'll just put in the value of x that you should be getting. X would be equal to v into root over of m divided by 2k, right? 2k. Now we have the compression, the maximum compression, and next thing we need to find out is the final answer, which is the kinetic energy of the AB system. So the kinetic energy of the AB system can be found right here, because this part here is the kinetic energy of the AB system. So that kinetic energy, Ke of AB, is equal to this half mv square minus of half kx square. So half kx square. We have got the value of that x. We can put that value of x in there, and that would give us half mv square, and if you put x is equal to v root over m by k, you would get that as an extra 2 would come out, so you'd get it as 1 by 4th mv square. So your net answer would be mv square by 4. So your job was to find this a over here. So that a value is equal to 4. So mv square by a, you got the kinetic energy of the AB system as mv square by 4. So that is your correct answer here. Next one says the two tall buildings 200 meters apart, ball must be thrown horizontally with a speed 2n plus 2 meters per second from window 540 meter above ground, one building, so that it will enter a window 50 meter above ground in the other building. So let's draw it out quickly over here. This is the first building, this is the second building. So originally you have this as 540 meters, and from here you throw the ball and it goes and enters in here, and this height would be 50 meters. It's also said that this distance is, I guess it's 200 meters, it's 200 meters here. Now you can think of this as coming from a height and landing at a height, but a better way to visualize this is to forget that this is at a height. Cut it off over here, because then it is just horizontal projection, and if you're assuming the ground to be here, it's just horizontal projection and it lands on the ground, which means for this horizontal projection the height is given. The height is going to be given by this height over here, which would be 540 minus 50 meters, that is equal to 490 meters, and this part over here, this 200 meter, is just the range of the projectile, that is 200 meters over here. Now we know the formula for range. The formula for range, r is equal to the speed u into root over of 2h by g, which is just the time of flight. Now h value is given to us, that is 490 meters. that is equal to u into root over of 490 divided by into 2, there's a 2 multiplied here, divided by, here we have, cut this out, here we have g. Now in g we won't be using 10 because then things get a bit complicated. Instead we will be using 9.8 because 490 goes with 9.8 as 50. So now you have r is equal to u into root over of 50 into 2, that is 100. Now r value is the range which we just calculated as 200 meters, which means this is going to give you 10. So your u is going to be equal to 20 divided by 10, that 200 divided by 10, that is 20 meters per second. Now it says that is equal to 2n plus 2. You need to find n. Just equating this with this, you will get your n value as equal to 9, because 2n is 9 into 2, 18 plus 2, 20. That is what you will get from here. Okay. Next it says that a cubical block of wood of edge 3 centimeter floats in water. The lower surface of the cube just touches the free end of a vertical spring fixed at the bottom of the pot. The maximum weight that can be put on the block without wetting it is p newtons. Then find the value of 2p. So over here we have, say, one block, right? This is the system. Initially this is the system. Initially you have this block floating over here and you have a spring down below. Now this is the part that is extra, that is floating above normally. Now the spring is not compressed, it is just touching over there. And in this case, if the density of the material, density of the wood is rho, density of the water is rho w, then we will know it's just floating. And in that case we know that v rho g, right? V rho, V is just a cube into the density of the wood into g is equal to, if the entire length, so have we been given the length? Let's assume that the length is a. Let's assume the length is a, right? It's a square block, it's a cubical block. So a cube into rho into g, that is equal to a square area into a minus x. A minus x only tells you about this part. So a cube into a minus x tells you about the volume of this part into rho w into g, that is the buoyant force, and they are equal because it's held stable over there. So from here you can extract out x because everything else is known to you, the side, rho w, everything is given to you, and that x value, of the value written here, you would get x to be equal to 0.6 centimeters, right? Now what we do is now we compress this. When you compress this, it looks something like this. It looks something like this. You want to put a weight on top so that the block sinks down. The block sinks down and the spring is now compressed. By how much will the spring be compressed? The spring will be compressed by the same distance x as it was above it. Because if you have to just sink it, you have to push it down by x. So the spring is compressed by x. And you have the additional weight w up top. So in this case, let's figure it out. What are the downward forces? Downward forces are w plus the weight of this block, that is again a cube rho g, and the upward forces are this force over here. Again it's going to be complete a cube. Now it's no longer a square a minus x. Now the entire body is inside, so the entire volume will contribute to the buoyant force, rho w into g, plus you now also have the spring force that is trying to push it up. So you have kx over here. Now everything is provided to us, spring constant and everything is given. We have to calculate w. Again, I won't go into the calculation here, but you will get w is equal to 0.354 newtons. Now beyond this, the question says that this is p newtons. So p is 0.354. They have asked you for the value of 2p. So if you do 2p over there, you will get 0.708. Right, you'll get 2p as 0.708, that is close to 1. We need to round it off to the nearest whole number. So the answer for this is going to be equal to just 1. So it's actually 0.708, but we take it to 1 over there just to round it off and get the answer. Now we have the last question. It says that an iron wire of length 4 meter, diameter 2 millimeter, loaded with a weight of 16 kg, Young's modulus is given, and we need to find the increase in length. This is a direct formula based question, because we know Young's modulus y is equal to F by A divided by delta L divided by L, which means we want to find delta L. So delta L would be equal to F into L divided by Y into A. So the force is just the weight of 16 kg, the force is just mass into this, so we'll keep this as M into G into L. L refers to the original length, 4 meters, divided by, you have the Young's modulus provided to us, and the area is equal to pi r square, pi into d by 2 whole square. Alright, d by 2 because the diameter is given, so be careful, it will be 2 millimeter divided by 2, so 1 millimeter is going to be the radius. Convert to SI unit, calculate, and you will get the answer. Adjust in millimeter, it would just be 1 millimeter. So that is it, that is the solution to this, and I think we've covered all the questions. Yep, that is all the questions covered. This paper was a bit mathematics heavy, so you need to be even strong in mathematics to really get the best marks out of this paper. So I hope all your doubts are cleared. If anything is still amiss, or if you feel that some part you need explanation, do let me know in the comments down below. See you again in the next video.
Welcome to the video solution of All India Test Series, Grand Test number 2, Chemistry paper. I am Nitin Verma, a chemistry faculty at Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya. So let's get started with the solution. The question number 1 was 50 ml of H2O2 is completely oxidized by 10 ml of 0.2 normal potassium permanganate. We have to choose the incorrect value for the strength of hydrogen peroxide. Now it's good thing they have given the normality. So whenever two reagents react, their number of gram equivalents are always equal. That means normality multiplied by volume for hydrogen peroxide must be equal to normality multiplied by volume for KMnO4. Alright. Now normality of H2O2, it is not known. Volume of H2O2, it is 50 ml. For potassium permanganate, normality is given to be 0.2 and volume is 10 ml. So normality is 2 divided by 50, right? Or we can say 1 upon 25. So normality of H2O2 solution is n upon 25, that is 1 upon 25. So this is correct, right? But we have to find out incorrect, right? Now because normality is 1 upon 25, so remember guys, normality is equal to molarity multiplied by n factor, and when hydrogen peroxide reacts with potassium permanganate, its n factor is 2, right? Because KMnO4 is an oxidizing agent, it oxidizes H2O2 to oxygen. So both the oxygen atoms, they move from -1 to 0 state, that is 2 electrons are involved. So normality is 1 upon 25, this is molarity, n factor is 2. So molarity is 1 upon 50. So this is also correct, molarity is 1 upon 50. Now the gram per liter strength is 0.68, we can calculate. Because molarity is 1 upon 50, this clearly means that 1 upon 50 moles of H2O2 are present in per liter of solution, right? So if you have to calculate mass, then 1 upon 50 moles of H2O2 is present in 1 liter of solution. Let us multiply it by molar mass of H2O2, which is 34. So if you will calculate, this will come out to be 0.68 gram per liter. So that obviously gives us as this is the correct answer, but anyway let us check. So 34 by 50 gram of H2O2 is present in 1 liter of solution. So if you have to convert it to percentage, okay, so how will you convert it? So 34 by 50, that is 0.68 is gram of H2O2 is present in per liter of solution. So percentage strength would be 0.68, right? This much gram is present in 1 liter. The volume of the solution is 1000 and we'll multiply by 100, right? So this will be 0.068 and not this, right? So this is not the correct value, this is the incorrect value. So this is our answer, the incorrect value is this. Then next question, if V is the molar volume of gas and gas obeys van der Waals equation, then at high pressure. So what happens at high pressure is that The van der Waals equation for 1 mole is this. Right? P plus A by V square, V minus B is equal to RT. At high pressure, attractive forces are not there, repulsive forces dominate, and the molecular volume becomes significant, right? So ignoring this term, I just have pressure this side, multiply. So this gives us PV minus PB is equal to RT, or I can write PV is equal to PB plus RT. Now compare this equation with the equation of a straight line. So y is equal to mx plus c. That means if I take a product of pressure and volume on y-axis and pressure on x-axis, right, pressure on x-axis, then the line has a positive slope which is b and the intercept is RT. So yes, this is correct. The intercept of the graph, PV versus P graph, that is RT. Okay. Now compressibility factor for helium and hydrogen is more than 1 in almost entire pressure range. Yes, for helium and hydrogen, they are the smallest of gases. They don't have attractive forces, right? So for them, they always show positive deviation from ideal behavior. So both statements are correct. First is the correct answer. Moving to the next question, log Kp by Kc plus log RT is 0. This relationship is true for which of the following equilibria? So let us reorganize this equation. Log Kp by Kc is minus log RT, right, which I can write as log RT raised to the power minus 1. Then taking anti-logarithm both sides, the log disappears, right? So Kp by Kc is RT raised to the power minus 1 and Kp is equal to Kc RT raised to the power minus 1. Now if you remember, the original equation is Kp is equal to Kc RT raised to the power delta Ng, right? So delta Ng is minus 1. That is the gaseous moles of products minus gaseous moles of reactants is minus 1. Let us check. Here gaseous moles of product 2, right, 1 plus 1 and reactant is 1. So here delta Ng is 1. In this case the gaseous moles of products is 2 and the reactants is 3. So yes, this is minus 1, this applies, right? And then in this case N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. So the gaseous moles of products is 2 and that of reactants is 4. So in this case delta Ng is minus 2. So yes, the correct answer is the second equilibrium. Alright. Moving to the next question, the solubility product constant of barium sulfate is 1.1 into 10 raised to the minus 10. In which case does barium sulfate precipitate? So remember that the precipitation of a salt occurs only if the ionic product is greater than the solubility product constant. Both of which are defined in the same way, which means for barium sulfate, I can write ionic product as the concentration of barium and the concentration of sulfate. Now you have to be a little bit careful here because when you mix two solutions, the total volume increases and the concentrations change, they decrease, right? So the concentration of barium will be the molarity multiplied by volume, which is going to give you millimoles of barium cation. But to find out concentration, you will have to divide it by the total volume, which is 100 plus 300, that is 400, right? So the concentration of barium will be number of moles by volume, right? Number of moles by total volume. Number of moles will be further molarity into volume. So I will write 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 multiply by 100 divided by total volume is 400 ml. So this is the actual concentration of barium ion when the two solutions are mixed, multiplied by the concentration of sulfate. So in case of sulfate, the sulfate concentration is 6 into 10 raised to the minus 4 multiplied by 300, right? So 6 into 10 to the minus 4 multiplied by 300, that is going to give you the millimoles of sulfate. To convert it into concentration, we will divide by the total volume, which is 400. Alright, now you have to determine the value. So this is just 10 raised to the power minus 3 here, right? and this is 18 by 4, so which is 4.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 4, right? So the entire Kp, it comes out to be 4.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 and minus 4 minus 7. So in the first case, the Kp has come out to be 4.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 7, which is definitely greater than the Ksp value. So yes, fortunately, in the first case, precipitation will occur. So that is the correct answer. Similarly, you can check for your practice in the second and third option, the Kp will come out to be less than the value of Ksp, right? Next question, ionization energy of helium is 19.6 into 10 to the minus 18 joule per atom. So we have to calculate the energy of the first stationary state of lithium, right? Now, ionization energy, guys, it is nothing but the negative of electronic energy, right? So the formula is going to be Rydberg constant, atomic number square, and the orbit number square. This is given to be 19.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 18. For helium, Z is 2, and because they have not mentioned, so we will assume that ionization energy is from ground state, right? That is N is equal to 1. So N is equal to 1, Z is equal to 2. So Rydberg constant into 2 square is 19.6 into 10 raised to the minus 18. That means in this case the Rydberg constant is 19.6 into 10 to the minus 18 divided by 4. Right? Now in such questions you have to use the value of the constant which you calculate from the question itself, right? We don't use the standard values of the constants. The second part of the question is the energy of the first stationary state of lithium. Yes, we know the energy now is minus RH Z square by N square. Now Rydberg constant, I will take this value. So this is 19.6 multiplied by 10 to the minus 18 divided by 4. Z now is 3 because we are talking about lithium ion. So this is 3 square, and again stationary state is 1, so this is 1 square. So if you work it out, you will get this as the correct answer. Alright. Next question, the correct sequence in which the order of the ionic radii is in decreasing. So yes, they all are isoelectronic species, right? Sodium cation, magnesium cation, aluminum cation, and then oxide ion, and then fluoride ion. They all are carrying 10 electrons each, right? So anions are larger, cations are smaller. That is the logic. So here the correct sequence of ionic radii will be this, right? So O2 minus will be largest, then fluoride, then sodium, then magnesium, and then aluminum. Which of the following is an example of disproportionation reaction? In disproportionation reaction, an element which is in one oxidation state, it simultaneously undergoes oxidation and reduction, right? That is a disproportionation. So yes, this is a very famous disproportionation reaction. White phosphorus in alkaline medium, it undergoes reduction to form phosphine, a highly toxic gas, and hypophosphite ion H2PO2 minus, right, where the oxidation number is +1 and here it is -3. So yes, this is a disproportionation reaction. Halogens except fluorine, yes, fluorine cannot undergo disproportionation because it has fixed oxidation state other than 0, which is -1. Otherwise, if you take chlorine, bromine and iodine, then yes, depending on the nature of the solution, it is hot and concentrated or cold or dilute, then in one of the cases you get this, right, -1 and +1. So yes, chlorine, bromine, iodine, their reactions are disproportionation reactions. Sulfur plus NaOH, sulfur is 0, elemental, it forms sulfide ion, reduction, and thiosulfate, oxidation, so that is also disproportionation. So all these examples are disproportionation reactions. Which of the following statements is correct, right? Which of the orders is correct? So thermal stability, so barium, calcium, magnesium and beryllium. So we are moving down the group, right? So beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium, yes, down the group the thermal stability increases because the cationic size increases and there is increase in the cation anion stabilization, right? So this statement is correct. What is the problem with these statements, these orders? So as we move down the group, for sulfates and carbonates of group 2 elements, the stability increases again because of the cation anion stabilization. Sulfate and carbonate, they are large anions, they need large cations. As we move down the group from beryllium to barium, the cationic size increases, which is favorable, right? So these orders are incorrect, right? Solubility will decrease and stability will increase, right? And this order is scrambled, it's not a definite order, so these are not correct, right? So this is the correct answer. Both beryllium and aluminum exhibit similar properties in their compounds. Yes, they are a diagonal pair in the periodic table, right? Beryllium in group 2 and aluminum in group 13, they are a diagonal pair. Due to almost same size and polarizing power of the cations, some pairs of their compounds are diagonally related. Yes, so they have some properties in the compounds because of the similar polarizing power of the cation, charge to radius ratio. So both are true, and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. Regarding hybridization, the incorrect matching among the following is, so in diborane the hybridization is sp3, yes, although it's an electron deficient compound, but the hybridization of boron is sp3. In silica, SiO2, yes, it's also a covalent or network solid where the hybridization of silicon is sp3. Diamond is also a covalent or network solid where the hybridization is sp3, right? So all the carbon atoms are tetrahedrally bonded to other carbon atoms like that. So this is the incorrect match, so our correct answer. In silicate anion, the hybridization of silicon is sp3, absolutely, right? Silicon and the 4 oxygen minus, so this is sp3 hybridization. Which structures represent the diastereomer of I? So guys, a diastereomer is a stereoisomer, right? Two compounds are related to each other as diastereomers if they are not mirror images. They are isomers of each other, but they are not mirror images. For example, cis-trans isomers, right? So the question is, which structure represents the diastereomer of 1? Now we notice that these groups are similar, right? So we don't have to check second, that is good thing. We have to check third, fourth and fifth. Okay, let's see. So third is definitely a diastereomer, right? Why? Because you can see here HOH, OHH, OHH, but here, right, it is a plane of symmetry, mesomer. So these two are stereoisomers but not mirror images of each other. So by definition they are diastereomers. That is the correct answer, right? If you want to see the rest, in case of fourth, it may seem different, but if you rotate this compound within the plane, remember Fisher projections can be rotated in the plane of the paper by 180 degree. That does not change them, right? So if I rotate this molecule in the plane by 180 degree, they will go diagonally, right? So H will come here, right? So you will rotate this will be H, and this will be OH, right? This will be H, and this will be OH, and it will go H, right? And this will be H, and this will be OH, right? So OH, H, and HH. So this is a mirror image. This is a mirror image of these. These two are related as enantiomers. In this case, it might seem different. Let us rotate it. Right? So if you rotate this, then OH, H, right? And then this side OH, and then H, and then OH and H. So HOH, OHH, those are same molecule, right? If you rotate by 180 degree, we are getting the same molecule. So yes, the fourth one is enantiomer, the fifth one is identical molecule, the third one is a diastereomer. That is the correct IUPAC name of the compound is. When we number the parent chain, when we look for the parent chain, always make sure the functional group is included in the parent chain and it is given the lowest possible position. So aldehyde is my functional group here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That is the parent chain and that is the numbering we will take. Okay? So this would be 2 ethyl and then 3 methyl, right? Substituents are always written in alphabetical order. So 2-ethyl and then 3-methyl, and there are 5 carbon atoms, so pentane, al, because the functional group is aldehyde. So which is the correct answer? This one, 2-ethyl, 3-methyl, pentanal. Which of the following orders is correct? For basic nature, yes, aliphatic amines are more basic than aromatic amines, because in aromatic amines, the lone pair is less available because it is involved in the resonance. Formic acid is a stronger acid than acetic acid, absolutely, because acetic acid contains CH3, which has plus I effect, electron donating, and always remember, electron withdrawing groups increase acidity, electron donating groups decrease acidity. So this order is also correct, right? And in this case, the flipping is not possible, which makes the lone pair more available for donation, right? So this is more basic than triethylamine. So all the orders are correct. In Friedel-Crafts acylation, more stable acylamine is this and not this. Yes guys, because as per the rules, sequence rules for the stability of resonance structures, first we see the complete octet of all atoms, right? Or you can see the pi bonds, number of pi bonds. So this has 2 pi bonds, this has 1, so this is more stable. Another case also, like here carbon does not have complete octet, but here all the atoms have complete octet, right? So this structure is more stable than that because here the number of bonds are more and the octet is complete for all atoms, right? Among resonating structures, negative charge on more electronegative atom is more stable than compared with positive charge on more electronegative atom. Yes, that is also true. Negative charge on more electronegative atom is stable compared to positive charge on more electronegative atom. But that is not the reason for the stability of this, right? The reason for the stability of this, as I just explained, is the presence of more number of bonds or complete octet. So both statements are correct, but the second statement is not a correct explanation of the first statement. This is oxymercuration demercuration method, right? It's a double bond, Markovnikov addition of water. In the first step, OH attaches, so we know OH will attach here in the Markovnikov manner. When you react with sodium borohydride, then hydrogen attaches, but they have taken deuterium, right? The isotope of hydrogen. So here you will have D, right? So the correct answer is this one. OH will go here, and instead of H, we will get D here. Here, this is an E2 elimination. Bromine is in the front side, right? So hydrogen must be behind the plane because E2 elimination is anti-elimination. That is, the base abstracts that hydrogen which is anti-periplanar to the halide, to the halogen, right? So if bromine is on the front side, hydrogen must be on the back side, right? So bromine is front, hydrogen is on the back. Yes, it is on the back. So a pi bond will come here. That means your X will be this one. In the second molecule, bromine is on the back side, so hydrogen must be on the front side. No, it is on the back side. So we will abstract one hydrogen from here and then double bond will come here. So Y will be, this will remain as it is, right? And you will get a double bond like this and methyl. So now you can compare which statement is correct. X and Y are same. Definitely not. Y is this. Yes, it is this. That is the correct answer. X is this. No, X is this. And Y, of course, they are contradictory. During E2 elimination of ethylidene bromide, right? Ethylidene, alkylidene, halide, what are they? It is this, right? Alkylidene halide, 2 halogens on the same carbon atom. Alkylene dihalide, 2 halogens on the adjacent carbon atom. To form ethine, NaNH2 is a better dehydrohalogenating agent than alcoholic KOH. Yes, because as compared to RO minus, NH2 minus is a stronger base, right? Right, because nitrogen is less electronegative, so it can more readily donate its electron pair or attack as a base. So NH2 minus is a better base than alkoxide ion. OH minus is more basic than NH2 minus? No. This you can also compare through the acidity of the conjugate acid. The conjugate acid of OH minus is water and the conjugate acid of NH2 minus is ammonia. Now you tell me which is a stronger acid? Of course water. So the corresponding conjugate base, hydroxide, will be a weaker base, right? So A is correct but R is incorrect. X is reacting with concentrated H2SO4 at 170 degrees Celsius, so dehydration. We are then reacting Y with bromine and CCl4, so Y must be an alkene. We are reacting it with bromine, so we have a di-bromo product which you are making it undergo a series of dehydrohalogenation. So if X is ethyl alcohol, guys, so on reaction with concentrated H2SO4, this will give alkene, so this will be CH2 double bond CH2, and then when you will carry out the dibromination, so you will have Br here, right, pi bond will break, and then if you will carry out the dehydrohalogenation, first with alcoholic KOH and then with sodamide, so these two will go away. So basically you will get ethine. Does it decolorize Bayer's reagent? Yes, right. If you react it with KMnO4, that will oxidize it. It can give benzene when subjected to polymerization. Yes, pericyclic reaction. If you pass acetylene over red hot iron tube, it undergoes cyclization to give benzene. It gives red precipitate with ammonical cuprous chloride. Yes, in fact that is a test for terminal alkynes because they give red precipitate with ammonical cuprous chloride. It gives ethylene on hydrogenation in the presence of Lindlar's catalyst. Yes, Lindlar's catalyst is a poisoned catalyst. So if you react it with Lindlar's catalyst, it undergoes partial reduction and it forms ethene, right? So all the statements are correct. Arrange the following compounds in order of the reactivity towards general electrophilic substitution, right? So it's very easy. Sort the groups into donating and withdrawing, right? So chlorine is withdrawing overall because minus I effect dominates over plus N. Nitrobenzene is, it's one of the most powerful electron withdrawing group, so they would be less reactive than benzene, right? So third, and which is more electron withdrawing? Second, right? So that is going to be least reactive, and then first. So second, first, third, right? Third and then first and second, right? So yeah, and then phenol and then toluene. Toluene contains CH3, right? And phenol contains OH. So of course hydroxide group is much more powerful electron donating than CH3 because it donates through resonance, whereas CH3 donates through hyperconjugation. So fourth is more reactive, right? And then fifth, right? So this is the correct answer: fourth, fifth, third, and first and second, right? In this case, position A and C are aromatic, right? Because this is benzene, this must be the Wheelan intermediate, and this must be nitrobenzene if you're carrying out the nitration. B is non-aromatic, complex intermediate in the graph. Yes. During electrophilic substitution of nitrosobenzene, the existing group is an orthopara director for the next incoming electrophile. Yes, both statements are true because nitroso group, if there is positive charge on benzene, right, then it can donate electron density, right? So it's a deactivator, but it's sort of orthopara directing. So both statements are true. 2 gram of a polybasic acid whose molar mass is 600, it requires 100 ml of M/6 NaOH. For complete neutralization, find the basicity of the acid. So remember guys, for an acid, the basicity is number of H plus ions given by that, and it's the same thing as N factor, right? And just as you can define normality is molarity into N factor, right? We can also define number of gram equivalents as number of moles multiplied by N factor, right? And in the first question in this video, we said that whenever two substances react, their gram equivalents are always equal, right? So gram equivalent of acid must be equal to gram equivalent of base, right? Now for acid, the gram equivalent is number of moles, which is mass divided by molar mass. N factor we have to find out, so I am calling it N factor only. Gram equivalents of base, again that is number of moles, because for sodium hydroxide N factor is 1 and number of moles is molarity into volume, right? Molarity is 1/6, volume is 100 ml, Now one common mistake students do here is they don't convert it to liter, right? Because you have taken number of moles, so this must also be number of moles, so the volume must be in liter, right? So if you work it out for n factor, you will find the answer is 5, right? Then in the reaction NaOH plus AlOH3, this is the reaction. So what is the molecular weight by equivalent weight? So remember guys, equivalent weight is molar mass or molecular weight divided by n factor. So when you say molecular weight by equivalent weight, so you are talking about n factor, right? Now aluminum hydroxide is an amphoteric substance. NaOH is acting as a base here. It is donating 1 hydroxide, so n factor is 1 here, alright. Two flasks A and B have equal volumes. A is maintained at 300, B is maintained at 600 Kelvin. A contains hydrogen gas, B has an equal mass of methane gas. Assuming ideal behavior for both the gases, what is the ratio of their average speeds, right? So we know that average speed is 8 RT by pi m, right? If you are making the ratio, so 8 R pi, they will cancel, right? So average speed will be under root T by m, right? So A is hydrogen and B is methane. So average speed of hydrogen divided by average speed of methane, right? So you can understand it is temperature of hydrogen by molar mass of hydrogen and temperature of methane and molar mass of methane, right? Now I think you can easily do it. Just substitute the given values. So temperature of hydrogen is 300, molar mass is 2, temperature of methane is 600 and the molar mass is 16, right? Under root 4 is 2, so the ratio is 2:1, right? So the correct answer would be 2, right? In this question, AB is in equilibrium with A and B. At a given temperature, 1/3 of AB reacts, right, dissociates. So what is the value of the total pressure divided by the Kp, equilibrium constant, right? So when initial concentration is not given, I will just take 1 mole, right? So let us do the ICE method here. I for initial, C for change and E for equilibrium. Initially I am taking 1 mole, then 0, 0, right? 1/3 reacts. So this would be -1/3, this would be +1/3, this would be +1/3, right? At equilibrium, total number of moles would be 2/3, 1/3, 1/3, and the total number of moles. Add all of them, 2/3, 1/3, 1/3. The sum is 4/3, right? Now let us calculate the mole fractions. The mole fraction of AB will be 2/3 and 4/3. So that is 1/2, right? The mole fraction of A is 1/3 and 4/3. That is 1/4 and 1/4, right? Now for this, the expression of Kp will be the partial pressure of products by the partial pressure of reactant. So Pa into Pb divided by Pab, right? Now as per the Dalton's law of partial pressure is equal to total pressure into mole fraction, right? Total pressure we are taking as capital P. So total pressure multiplied by mole fraction is 1/4. For B it will be same, P into 1/4 divided by, for A it will be P into 1/2, right? So P and P will cancel, this will cancel, so it will be P divided by 4 into 2, 8, right? So Kp will be P/8. Kp will be P/8, so of course P/Kp will be 8. So the correct answer will be 8. pH of a mixture of a weak acid and its conjugate base is 5. The Kb of A minus is 10⁻10. So we know that for a conjugate acid base pair, K into Kb is 10⁻14. So if Kb is 10⁻10, the K of the acid will be 10⁻14 divided by 10⁻10, it will be 10⁻4, which will give you pKa as 4, right? Remember, if the value is 10⁻x, then the pK is x, right? It will help you a lot. So pK is 4. Now let us apply Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. pH is equal to pKa plus log the conjugate base, which is A minus, divided by the acid, which is HA. Alright, then pH is given to be 5, the pKa is 4, and if you see carefully, they have asked HA by A minus, that is acid by conjugate base, right? So remember that log A by B is minus log B by A, right? So I can write as log HA divided by A minus, right? So if you rearrange this, log HA by A minus, it will come out to be minus 1, which I can write in as 1 into 10 to the minus 1, right? So the correct answer is 1, alright. Heat of combustion of A is this and B is this. A mixture containing 3 moles of A and X moles of B on combustion releases 105 kilocalorie of heat. So what is the value of X? So this is a very easy question. 3 moles of A, so the heat given by A is 3 into minus 10, right? 1 mole of A gives minus 10. So for 3 moles it is 3 into minus 10. For B we are taking X moles, so X into minus 15, right? The molar heat of combustion is minus 15. Now the total heat released is 105, so it will be minus 105, right? Because we are taking the signs. So it will be minus 15x minus 105 and plus 30. So this will be minus 75 of minus 15x. So x is 5, right? So the value of x is 5. 5 moles of B are reacting. Calculate equilibrium constant in multiples of 10 to the minus 80, where sodium reduces aluminum oxide to aluminum, right? So if sodium reduces aluminum oxide, right? So we are assuming aluminum will be reduced to 2Al and sodium will be oxidized to Na2O. Now let us balance this equation. 2 aluminum, so there are 2 aluminum, right? And they will need 6 electrons, so we'll have 6, okay, sodium, and here we will have 3, right? So 6 sodium, 2 aluminum and 3 oxygen, right? Yeah, this is balanced. Now what you do, you calculate the Gibbs energy of this reaction, which is products minus reactants. Now remember, the elements have, in the most stable state, have 0 Gibbs energy of formation. So the Gibbs energy will come out as 3 multiplied by the value of sodium oxide, which is given to be minus 377, right? And the Gibbs energy of formation of reactant, which is for Al2O3 only, so that is minus 1582, right? So you will calculate this value. Remember, it is in kilojoule, so whatever value comes, don't forget to multiply it by 1000. And we know that Gibbs energy is minus 2.303 RT log Kc, right? So it's a little bit of lengthy calculation. Do it. R is 8.314, temperature is 298 Kelvin. Then you will get log, then calculate the anti-log. I will tell you the final answer here. It will come out to be 9 into 10 raised to the power minus 80. So the answer they are looking for is 9, right? The number of electrons with m is equal to 0 in an atom with atomic number 33. Arsenic they are talking about. So if an element has atomic number 33, it will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d10, 4s2 and then 4p3, right? Now you guys know, for s orbital m is equal to 0, right? For this also 0. In p subshell there is one orbital which has m0, this is 0. There is one orbital with m is equal to 0. In d also minus 2 to plus 2, so there is one orbital with 0. This is 0. In p it will be like this. Obeying Hund's rule, we will have one electron in each orbital, right? So the total number of electrons with m is equal to 0 will be 2 from this, then 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 2 from this and 1 from this, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 1, 15. So there are a total of 15 electrons which have m is equal to 0. Now that number is 5x. So 15 is given to be 5x. So x will come out to be 3. All right. The number of species involving sp3d hybridization are, so sp3d hybridization has steric number 5. Steric number is the number of boundary atom plus lone pairs on the central atom. I will do this procedure for XeF2, right? Then you can repeat them for the remaining molecules. Xenon is the central atom. It has 8 valence electrons, right? Fluorine are boundary atom. 1 electron will be shared with each fluorine, right? Out of 8 electrons, 2 are shared, 6 are remaining. 6 electrons will stay on xenon as 3 lone pairs, right? So there are 2 bond pairs. Bond pairs are 2 and lone pairs are 3. So the steric number is 5. So yes, hybridization is sp3d. So you guys can check. It will be here, 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 and 7 and 8, it's like that. Here also. XeF4, it will be 4 bond pairs and steric number is 6. So this is not. XeOF2 mein, xenon has 8 valence electrons. Oxygen will take 2 electron. Fluorine will take 1 each. 4 electrons will be left, right? So there are 3 bond pairs because in Vesper theory we assume a double bond as a single super bond, right? So bond pairs will be 3 and lone pairs will be 2. So again in XeF2 the hybridization is sp3d. So I think that is the only molecule that does not have sp3d hybridization. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then 7. So yes, the correct answer is 7 molecules have sp3d hybridization. Select the number of species which are having fractional bond order and are paramagnetic. So paramagnetic is easy to find. If there are odd electrons, it has to be paramagnetic, right? And then we will use shortcut. For 14 electrons bond order is 3, right? For 15 electrons bond order is 2.5. For 16 electrons bond order is 2. For 17 electrons bond order is 1.5. For 18 electrons bond order is 1. Similarly, for 13 electrons bond order is 2.5, 12 electrons bond order is 2, something like that you can find out. 11 electrons bond order is 1.5, right? So H2 plus has 1 electron, of course it is paramagnetic and fractional bond order half. O2 is paramagnetic but it does not have fractional bond order, right? It is this. So this is one correct. O2 plus will have 15 electrons, so yes, paramagnetic and 1.5 bond order, okay? 2.5 bond order. So this is correct. O2 minus will have 17 electrons, 1.5 bond order, right? Bond order fractional, 1 unpaired electron. This will also be. C2 has 12 electrons, 2 bond order, right? And it will not be paramagnetic because it has electrons paired. C2 plus will be. N2 no. N2 plus will be because it has 13 electrons. F2 will not be there, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the total number of species which have fractional bond order and a paramagnetic is 5 here. Alright. So that's all in this solution video, guys. Thank you for watching.
Hi dear students, welcome to Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya. Today let us see the math part of GTM2, right? You see this question paper, let us see how it is. Yeah, first question, this is the question on functional relations. You see f of x, this is given like f of x square into f of 1 minus x by 1 plus x is x cube. Function is not given completely but relation is given. I want fractional part of f of minus 2. Right dear students, such questions we answer like this. Given f of x whole square into f of 1 minus x by 1 plus x is x cube, right? So you know 1 minus x by 1 plus x is an expression of self inverse. So replace x by, let it be equation 1, replace x by the same 1 minus x by 1 plus x. You know you will get f of 1 minus x by 1 plus x whole square is nothing but into, if you replace x by 1 minus x by 1 plus x, you will get x here. That is the beauty in this. With this observation, this is 1 minus x by 1 plus x whole cube is the second equation. From this I want f of x, I want to eliminate this part. So what I do is, my dear friends, I just take the square of this. You just square of this so that this becomes 4, this becomes square, this becomes x power 6, right? So my dear friends, if you just divide 1 by 2, what you are going to get is, if you just divide, these two get cancelled, f of x whole cube is equal to, you see, x power 6 divided by this, we can write 1 plus x by 1 minus x whole cube. So from this, my dear friends, I can say f of x is nothing but x square into 1 plus x by 1 minus x. That's all. We could decode the relation. We have found f of x, right? Now I want f of minus 2 first of all. From this, f of minus 2 is going to be, this is 4 into 1 minus 2 by 1 plus 2, that is minus 1 by 3. So which is, friends, minus 4 by 3. Now I just want fractional part of minus 4 by 3. Fractional part of x is x minus step x, minus 4 by 3 minus step x is minus 4 by 3. So friends, minus 4 by 3 is minus 1.33, whose step is minus 2. So 2 minus 4 by 3, my dear friends, which is 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is going to be the answer, dear friends. Simple, it is a functional relation from which I found f of x. Once f of x is known, I found f of minus 2, then fractional part, that's it. Then the second question, you see f of x is given some quadratic expression where x square coefficient is positive, g of x is given another quadratic expression where x square coefficient is negative, or such that minimum of f of x is greater than maximum of g of x. Friends, you know ax square plus bx plus c quadratic expression, if a positive upper parabola, it will have minimum value, and if a negative down parabola, it will have maximum value. In both the cases, the value is given by the expression 4ac minus b square by 4a itself. Formula is the same. So the minimum of this expression, you just apply 4ac minus b square by 4a is this, is greater than, for this expression the maximum value, same formula, 4ac is b square minus b square will become 4c square by 4a will become minus 4, my dear friends. Now you just try to simplify, cancel 4 here, you will get 2c square minus b square is greater than, you can say, you can divide with minus 4, so that this becomes b square plus c square it is. So my dear friends, c square is greater than 2b square. So if you can take modulus on both sides, mod c is greater than root 2 into b, fourth option is the right answer, friends. Simple. The quadratic expressions, I mean minimum maximum value related, simple question it is, right? Then question number 3, you see here a, b, c are angles of a triangle. It means, friends, a plus b plus c is going to be pi, okay? Then delta is a determinant given like that of this e power 2ia in this format, where e power I theta means cis theta, that is cos theta plus I sin theta standard notation, I square is minus 1, is asking us to find a delta value. Fine, one thing you can say, when a, b, c are independent of, you see, then why don't you go with a proper substitution like a0, b0, c pi, you can put and simplify, my dear friends, you will get the answer, because answer is independent of abc, right? So you can go with a proper substitution also, or else otherwise, of course 0, 0 cannot be the angles in a triangle, but still it shoots. Otherwise, if you want to do by procedure, you can just go like, you see, from delta, first you take e power ia common from the first row, similarly e power ib common from the second row, e power ic common from the third row, so that this becomes e power ia, this becomes e power ic by e power a, means e power minus of I into c plus a, you will get e power minus of I into b plus a, you will get, my dear friends. In the same way, when you take b here, e power minus of I into c plus b, e power, this is 2ib it is, you can get e power ib, e power minus of a plus b it is. So friends, here also you take e power c common, e power minus of I into c plus b, this is e power minus of I into a plus c, and here e power ic. This is the determinant that is left. Even, my dear friends, suppose for your kind information, e power I into, for example, c plus a is there. What does it mean? Cis of c plus a, cis theta. So, c plus a I can write like pi minus b, that is cos of pi minus b is minus cos b, plus I into sin of minus b is sin b. Am I correct? So, I can say, so cis of pi minus b, of course here I minus is there, so minus of I have to write. So, minus of this means you can write cis of minus theta is cos theta minus I sin theta. This becomes minus cis of b, it becomes, that means minus e power ib, you can write. My dear friends, e power minus I into c plus a will become e power, you see I can say minus e power ib. So, this determinant becomes here e power I into a plus b plus c, a plus b plus c is pi, e power I pi means you can write okay e power I pi. In the next step again you can simplify it as e power ia, this becomes, my dear friends, minus e power ib, you can say this is minus e power ic, you can write. So, here also, my dear friends, this is minus e power ia, this is e power ib, this is going to be e power minus e power ic. Again the third column becomes minus e power ia, this becomes e power minus e power ib, this becomes e power ic. Right friends? In this stage again, after this simplification, what I do is, again you can take like common e power ia can be taken common from first column, e power ib from the second column, e power ic from the third column. You just take that, if you take this e power I pi into e power ia, you take common here, again e power ib from the second column, e power ic in the third column, then it is left with the determinant 1 minus 1 minus 1, e power ia if you take 1 minus 1 minus 1, e power ib means minus 1 1 minus 1, here minus 1 minus 1 1, this is the determinant. Here it is again e power I pi means cos pi plus I sin pi, my dear friends, which becomes cos pi is minus 1 sin p is 0, this is minus 1 into the same logic e power I pi, this is minus 1 into, if you expand this you will get minus 4, finally minus 4 is going to be the answer, my dear friends. Just expand the determinant, you will get the answer, that is it. So, it is a matter of simplification, but in the exam if I were you, what I do is, since the answer is independent of ABC, better you give A0, B0, C pi, that also works. Pi by 2, 0 also works, your wish, whatever it is convenient for you, you can go with that. Okay, dear students. Next, you see this question, assertion reasoning type, statement A is a function f satisfies this condition, f of x plus t is given this. Hurry here, you can easily observe that this is 1 plus 1 minus f of x whole cube, it is power 1 by 3 is there. So, which becomes, you see 1 plus 1 minus f of x, which is 2 minus f of x, right. So, friends, he has given like f of x plus t is equal to 2 minus f of x. So, that is f of x plus t plus f of x is equal to 2. This is a standard question. For such a function, we can say period is 2t, because you know, replace x by x plus t again, you will get f of x plus 2t plus f of x plus t is also 2. You just subtract, my dear friends. If you subtract here, these two get cancelled, f of x is equal to f of x plus 2t you will get. So, friends, this function f of x is a periodic with periodicity 2t, you can say. It may not be fundamental period, I can say its period is 2t, right. So, that is what he said. So, statement 1 is correct, my dear friends. Reason, if f of x plus 2t is f of x, then the period of f of x is 2t. We can say 2t is the period, may not be fundamental period, but I can say period. So second statement is also correct, and this helps in answering this because this is part and parcel of the solution of that, and hence we can say both A and B individually true and R is the correct explanation of A. Perfect. So I will go with option 1, my dear friends. Okay. The next, you see this question, the system of equations is, you see, inconsistent. Inconsistent means no solution. In that case, what could be the lambda? It's a standard question in matrices and determinants, and you just take the rank method. I always prefer rank method to answer that questions. You can adopt Cramer's method and many methods are there. So even though you see friends, here lambda is there, x1 coefficient, I take this as the second one because I always try to maintain 1 at the coefficient of x1 for the first equation. You just consider the augmented matrix A by B, dear students, which is like, you take this equation first, 1 lambda 1 1. Second you can take 1 1 lambda 1. Third you can take lambda 1 1 1. This is the equation, augmented matrix. Step 2 is, with the help of this element you subtract, you make this is 0, this is 0. That is, my dear friends, I can say R1 as it is, R2 minus R1 you do, this is 0, this is 1 minus lambda, this is lambda minus 1, this is 0. Next step, you want to make it 0, so R3 I change as R3 minus lambda R1, so that this becomes 0, lambda means 1 minus lambda square, this becomes 1 minus lambda, this becomes 1 minus lambda, my dear friends. So you can divide a row or column, especially row with a number, no issue. So my dear friends, suppose lambda is equal to 1, what happens friends? If lambda is 1, this row is 0, this row is 0, rank of A is equal to rank of A by B, the system will have infinitely many solutions. Rank of A is equal to rank of A by B is 1. So, but it should have inconsistent solution, inconsistent, that means no solution should be. So, lambda cannot be 1, just divide the first row as well as the last row with lambda minus 1, so that this becomes 1 lambda 1 1, this is 1 minus 1 0. Here also you divide with 1 minus lambda, you will get 1 plus lambda here, 1 1, right. Next, my dear friends, the next step would be, with the help of this element you make this is 0. So my dear friends, what I do is, first row as it is 1 lambda 1 1, 0 1 minus 1 0. So you just, what you do is R3 you change as R3 minus lambda plus 1 into R2, okay. So this is 0, my dear friends. So lambda plus 1 into this will become 0. So 1 minus of lambda plus 1, right. This element becomes 1 minus of lambda plus 1 into minus 1 will become this, which becomes lambda plus 2, whereas this becomes 1 itself. So my dear friends, to get, you see, if lambda value is minus 2, my dear friends, what happens, rank of A will become 2, rank of A by B is 3, no solution, inconsistent. Other than minus 2, whatever you take, rank of A is 3, rank of A by B is 3, unique solution. So my dear friends, if lambda is minus 2, rank of A is 2, rank of A by B is 3, not equal, so no solution, right. So this is the fourth option. Next friends, you see this is a 3 by 3 matrix, such relation is given, which is a standard question, my dear friends. If you just multiply with A inverse, this becomes A cube plus CA square plus DA minus 6I is equal to 0, my dear friends. Generally for a 3 by 3 matrix we get such cubic relation, mostly it's a characteristic equation it is. I think characteristic equation means A minus lambda I is equal to 0. If you expand this, you will get one equation in terms of, you see, lambda, that is called characteristic equation. Every square matrix satisfies its characteristic equation. So in that, in place of lambda, if you put A, you will get such relation. The result is, my dear friends, generally you will get like for a 3 by 3 matrix, a cube minus, you can say, trace of a into a square plus next sum of minors of diagonal, principal diagonal elements into a minus det a into I is equal to 0. This is the relation we get. This is the formula, my dear friends. It is also exactly like this. You see, a square coefficient is nothing but minus trace of a. Trace of this matrix is 6, my dear friends. So, C must be minus 6. So, this is the only such option, my dear friends. That is all. Done. Suppose if you want D also, you can do sum of the minors of the diagonal elements. Suppose this is 1, its minor is 4 plus 2, 6. For this element minor is 4 minus 0, 4. For this element minor is 1. You see there is some, this is going to be 11, which is there here. So friends, this is important as far as a 3 by 3 square matrix is concerned. The characteristic equation after you do, what we are going to get is a cube. A square coefficient is minus trace of a, and a coefficient is sum of the, you can say, minors of the diagonal elements, and constant, that means I coefficient is nothing but minus of determinant. Please do remember, this helps a lot. Okay, that is it. So, this is the answer for this question. Next, you see, inverse trigonometry series is given. So, you can observe this series like sine inverse of, you can write root of 2 into 1, but root 1 minus root 0, plus sine inverse of, again this is root of 3 into 2, but I can write like root 2 minus root 1. Like that, my dear friends, you just take nth term, you see sine inverse of, you can write undoubtedly first term, second term, third term, you can write n plus 1 into n you are going to get. For first term 1, second term 2, nth term is n minus root of n minus 1 it is. So friends, I can write it as sigma, you can say r is equal to 1 to n, or so you can write like sigma n, otherwise you can also write, so to avoid confusion you can also write sigma of general term, you can just write, so like, yeah, sine inverse of, you can write like root n minus root n minus 1 by root of n plus 1 into n, my dear friends. So, you just try to separate it, because I want to write it as sine inverse of root n by, you can write root n into root n plus 1 minus, this is root n minus 1 by root n into root n plus 1. You see, now I am going to split it as sine inverse of 1 by root n into root of n by n plus 1 minus 1 by root n plus 1 into root of, you can write n minus 1 by n, my dear friends. If you just take it as this is sin theta a b, sin a cos b plus cos a sin b, it perfectly fits. So that you can write, friends, this is, you can write, that is sin inverse x minus y formula, you can split 1 by root n minus 1 by root n plus 1. So I think you know sin inverse of x minus y. How can you write sin inverse? X into root of 1 minus y square minus y into root of 1 minus x square, perfectly fits, my dear friends. So this summation I have to take n is equal to 1 to n. You see, we can you can write like, one second, here you can write like, yeah, with a little modification, let me write. So I can say, my dear friends, here, yeah, sin inverse of 1 by root n minus sin inverse of 1 by root n plus 1 it is. Okay. So in this case, my dear friends, if you apply sigma, what will you get? Sin inverse 1 by 1 minus sin inverse 1 by root 2. Same logic, sin inverse 1 by root 2 minus sin inverse 1 by root 3. if you take up to n terms, my dear friends, sin inverse 1 by root n minus sin inverse 1 by root n plus 1. You see, this way they get cancelled, you are left with first term and last term. As n tends to infinity, 1 by infinity goes to 0, sin inverse 1 is pi by 2 and sin inverse 0 is 0. So, the final answer is pi by 2, my dear friends. The point is, you observe the infinite series, try to get some pattern such a way that you will get like telescopic method, f of r minus f of r plus 1, then cancellations take place, you will get the answer easily. Okay friends. Next, you see this question. So, if exponential of this into ln2, you see e power some k into ln2 means base e, you can simply write like e power log 2 power k base e. So, it is going to be 2 power k itself. So, if you take this total expression like k, final it is going to be 2 power sin square x plus sin power 4x plus and so on infinite terms is the thing given. You know, my dear friends, it is infinite GP with first term sin square x and common ratio also sin square x, that is S infinity is a by 1 minus r, which is friends 2 power, this is going to be tan square x. Okay. He said that this satisfies the equation. What is this quadratic equation? X square minus 17x plus 16 equal to 0, whose roots are 1 comma 16. That means this must be either 2 power 0 or 2 power 4. So friends, given x is open interval 0 to pi by 2, so tan square x is equal to, actually it should be 0 or 4, but in this interval 0 is impossible, so tan x is 4, so tan square x, so tan x must be plus 2 or minus 2, but in first quadrant minus 2 also not possible, tan x is 2, my dear friends. Once tan x is 2, I need to find this expression value. You divide the numerator and denominator with cos x. So, this becomes, my dear friends, 2 by tan x plus 2. Okay. So, put tan x is equal to 2 here, 2 by 2 plus 2 will become 2 by 4, which is 1 by 2, my dear friends. 1 by 2 is the answer. That is it. A simple algebra related problem. Okay. Next, you see this question. Let y is given this expression and mu is given this expression. Y is discontinuous only at, here whenever mu is taken, this is like f of g of x, the function is not defined when x is equal to 1. So, obviously the function must be discontinuous, and this mu we substitute here. So, this is polynomial everywhere continuous except where denominator becomes 0. Generally mu becomes 0 at 1 comma minus 2. Yes, mu means 1 by x minus 1 becoming 1, 1 by x minus 1 becoming minus 2. At these x values the function is not defined, so it is obviously discontinuous. So, this is x minus 1 is 1, x is equal to 2, and here x minus 1 is minus 1 by 2, x is 1 by 2. So, at these values, my dear friends, the function is not at all defined and hence discontinuous. Else everywhere these are like polynomial kind of reciprocal of a polynomial where denominator not equal to 0, continuous. So, this answer, third option is the right answer where the function is discontinuous. Next friends, you see this is simple, you know, as x tends to 0, that means 0 plus or 0 minus, sin x by x is slightly less than 1, whereas you can say obviously x by sin x is slightly more than 1. We know this point. As x tends to 0 plus or 0 minus, in both the cases sin x by x is slightly less than 1. So, x by sin x is slightly more than 1. So, this is x by sin x is slightly more than 1 into 11 means 11.000 something you will get, whose step is 11. Whereas sin x by x is slightly less than 1, that is 0.999. So, 21 into that number gives 20.999, whose step is 20, my dear friends. So, 20 plus 11 is going to be 31. 31 is the answer. Simple question. Next, you see again inverse trigonometry based question. This is tan inverse of this, you know, this is very standard. 1 by, you can write x into x plus 1 into x plus 1. Here you can write x plus 1 minus x, you can write, my dear friends. See, x plus 1 minus x. In the same way, second one you can write like tan inverse of, you see, 1 plus x plus 2 into x plus 1. Okay, here you can write x plus 2 minus x plus 1, that's all, right. So, in the same way you can write the nth term like, you see, tan inverse of, you see, x plus n minus of 1 less than this, x plus n minus 1 by, this is 1 plus, I can say like here, this is product of these two, x plus n into x plus n minus 1, this is the one. So friends, this is nothing but, the first one is tan inverse of x plus 1 minus tan inverse of x plus, second one, tan inverse of x plus 2 minus tan inverse of x plus 1, and so on. Nth term, tan inverse of x plus n minus tan inverse of x plus n minus 1. You see, cancellations will take place in this way, right. Finally, you are going to get, my dear friends, tan inverse of x plus n minus tan inverse of x. Yes. So, he wants, this is y function, my dear friends, he wants f dash of 0. So, what is its derivative, my dear friends? The derivative of this tan inverse x derivative is 1 by 1 plus x square minus 1 by 1 plus x square. You put x is equal to 0, my dear friends, you will get 1 by 1 plus n square minus 1, which is, my dear friends, minus n square by n square plus 1. Second option is the right answer. Okay. Next, you see this question, simple assertion reasoning type. The shortest distance between the skew lines is 10 by root 2. We need to verify and reason. Two lines are skew lines if there exists no plane passing through them. Obviously, skew line means they will be like this. They will neither parallel nor intersecting. So, there won't exist a plane passing through them. So, statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 we need to check. So, we will see the thing. So, how to find shortest distance between skew lines, friends? It is very, very important. So, first identify the point here. A is 1 1 0. Identify the point on the second line. C is 2 1 minus 1. So, friends, I will give you two-step procedure to find shortest distance between two lines. One is you just find AC bar, my dear friends. 2 minus 1 1, 1 minus 1 0, minus 1, yeah, minus 1 minus 0 is minus 1. So, AC bar you write 1 0 minus 1, DRs of the first line, this one, and DRs of the second line 3 minus 5 2. My dear friends, I will tell you once again how to find the shortest distance between two skew lines. First identify the point on the first line, point on the second line, find AC bar. Then we call these DRs as B bar, this is D bar. So, you just take the determinant, this is AC bar, my dear friends, then B bar, D bar. I have written like box AC bar, B bar, D bar, this one. By, my dear friends, square root of something. This is the answer, done. So, that means one more step. Please expand this determinant by first row itself. 1 into, this is minus 2 plus 5, which is 3, my dear friends. This is minus 2 plus 5 is 3, then minus 0 into, but still you write, this is 4 minus 3 is 1, minus 1 into, you can say minus 10 plus 3, minus 10 plus 3 is minus 7, okay, modulus of this. Now, the square root is nothing but this brackets sum of the squares, that is 3 square 9, this 3 square, 1 square is 1, 7 square is 49. My dear friends, this is going to be 49. Okay. So, finally, we are going to get 3 plus 7, 10 by root 59 kind of. Okay, just check the calculation properly and you have to find the answer. So once again friends, I tell you, first you have to write AC bar, so 1 1 0, second one 2 1 minus 1, 2 1 minus 1. So AC bar will become 2 minus 1 1 0 minus 1, this is correct. Then 2 minus 1 1, this is correct. 3 minus 5 2, this is correct. After writing this, expand by first row. 1 into this is minus 2 plus 5 is 3, my dear friends. Then I can say 0 into, you can write 4 minus 3 is 1, this is also fine, and minus 1 into, you can say minus 10 plus 3, my dear friends. Accordingly you write from this, this is the answer for shortest distance. After writing this, whatever numbers you are getting here, write this. I think if it is not 7, the answer would be perfect. 10, you will get 10 by root 2 or something, but it is not 10 by root 2. Okay, so first statement becomes false. Okay, so accordingly you choose the answer, but shortest distance can be calculated in this way. Check the calculation and decide the answer once. Okay, right. Next friends, and it won't be correct explanation anyhow one is false, other is true, no issue. Next friends, the sum of the intercepts of the tangent to this particular curve upon the coordinate axis. That means my dear friends, so there is some curve, say like root x plus root y is a, so you just draw a tangent at some point, so it will make some x intercept here, y intercept here. He is asking sum of these intercepts, my dear friends. Try to find the tangent at some general point. You can also take the general point is as a cos power 4 theta comma a sin power 4 theta. Can I take? You can also take like root x x1 comma y1 also, but somewhere in the problem you need to use root x1 plus root y1 is root a. Otherwise if you take like this, no need to use in the calculations. That's all. This is the general point. Now I need to find the derivative tangent equation. So dy by dx. Arey yaar, dy by dx is implicit differentiation minus dou f by dou x 1 by 2 root x by dou f by dou y 1 by 2 root y, which is going to be minus root y by x. That is at this particular point, especially dy by dx at this particular point theta is going to be minus root y by x will become sin power 4 theta by cos power 4 theta, tan power 4 theta under root is tan square theta, my dear friends. Okay. Now you just try to write the tangent equation friends. Y minus y1 is equal to m into, that is you can write minus sin square theta by cos square theta is also fine for easy calculations, x minus x1, x minus a cos power 4 theta. This is the friend. Don't simplify this. I just want x intercept. X intercept means put y coordinate is 0. If you put y is equal to 0, so my dear friends, what happens? You can put x is equal to 0 once, y is equal to 0. If you put y is equal to 0, here minus gets cancelled, a sin square theta it is, a sin square theta cos square theta, x is going to be a sin square theta cos square theta plus a cos power 4 theta, which is friends, you just take a cos square theta common, you will get sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So this is going to be a cos square theta. Similarly, if you want the other intercept, put x is equal to 0, y is going to be cos square theta gets cancelled, minus minus becomes plus, a sin square theta cos square theta plus a sin power 4 theta, you are going to get, if you just take a sin square theta, you are going to get sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So this is x intercept and this is y intercept. Their sum is again a, because a cos square theta plus a sin square theta is a. So a is the answer. Of course it is a standard question, it is okay. You can directly say, or else you can do the procedure without taking theta also, you can take by taking the point like root x1 comma x1 comma y1 as a general point. Okay. Next, you see the value of c for which the conclusion of Lagrange's theorem holds for the function f of x is, my dear friends. In this case, Lagrange's theorem means, I think you know friends, F is continuous on closed AB and F is differentiable on open AB, then there exists some C belongs to open AB such that f dash of C is equal to f of B minus f of A by B minus A. This is what we call Lagrange's mean value theorem. So he wants to apply Lagrange's mean value theorem on this interval. Undoubtedly root of A square minus x square is continuous, differentiable, and A is more than 1, so no problem at A. So open interval A comma A. By Lagrange's theorem, my dear friends, what you can see, there exists some C belongs to 1 to A, open 1 to A. C must belongs to, here in this problem, open 1 to A such that f dash of C is equal to, okay, what is f of A minus f of 1 by A minus 1. Arey yaar, what is f dash x? Root x derivative is 1 by 2 root x into A square minus x square derivative is minus 2x. So 2 gets cancelled, minus x by that is minus c by root of a square minus c square is equal to f of A is going to be 0 minus f of 1 is going to be root of a square minus 1 by a minus 1. So friends, you can cancel c by root of, you see 1 comma a means a is positive quantity, c by a square minus c square is equal to root of a plus 1 into a minus 1 by a minus 1 whole square, you will get a plus 1 by a minus 1, my dear friends. Now what you can do is, you can square it and simplify, you can find c square value, from which c you are going to get like a into a plus 1 by 2 under root, that is all, just algebraic simplification, that is it. So my dear friends, you just recall Lagrange's mean value theorem, there exists c belongs to open 1 to A such that f dash of C is f of B minus f of A by B minus A, that is it. Next friends, the distance of the point on this curve which is nearest to a line, it is a standard question. You see, there is some curve, there is some line, how to find the shortest distance? Simple friends, find the point on the curve. Shortest distance means at this point, you know, shortest distance is possible along the common normal. That means at this point, if you draw the tangent, this tangent must be parallel to this line. That means this line's slope is going to be 2, my dear friends. Here slope is 2. So I just need to find that point on the curve where tangent is slope. Tangent slope is equal to 2. Tangent slope means derivative, my dear friends. Derivative is 4x cube plus 6x plus 2. I just want that x value where this tangent slope is going to be 2, my dear friends. That means you can say 2x into x square plus 3 is equal to 0. The only possibility is x is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 0, my dear friends, what is the point here? If x is 0, for this point y is also 0. So at the point 0 comma 0 to this curve, if you draw the tangent that is parallel to this curve. So the distance from this point to this line itself the shortest distance. So find the shortest distance from 0 0 to, this is 2x minus y minus 1 equal to 0. Perpendicular distance, my dear friends, mod c by root of a square plus b square is 5, 4 plus 1. That is 1 by root 5 is going to be the answer, my dear friends. That is all. Simple. Next, you see assertion reasoning kind of question. You see Rolle's theorem be applied in f of x, then Lagrange's mean value theorem is also applicable for f of x. You see, my dear friends, if Rolle's theorem is applicable, that means f is continuous on closed AB, f is differentiable on open AB. The first two constraints of Lagrange's mean value theorem, and hence this statement is correct basically. Next, you see second function, both Rolle's theorem and Lagrange's mean value theorem cannot be applied to f of x in the interval minus pi by 3 to pi by 3. So you just see this particular function, my dear friends, when x is positive, mod x is x, mod sin x 0 to pi by 3, mod sin x is sin x itself, no change. Whereas when x is minus pi by 3 to 0, sin x is negative, mod x will become minus x, this becomes modulus of minus sin x, right. So, modulus of here sin x itself negative, answer is minus sin x. You just need to draw the graph of minus sin x from minus pi by 3 to 0. So, sin x will go like this, minus sin x will be like this, my dear friends. So, simply this is going to be sin x, this is going to be minus sin x. By observing the graph itself, we can say that it is not differentiable at 0, or right hand derivative sin x derivative is cos x at 0 is 1, here derivative is minus 1. So, this function is not differentiable at 0 at one of the points in the journey. So, you cannot apply Rolle's theorem, you cannot apply Lagrange's theorem. So, this statement is also correct. Now, so individually both are correct. In what way it is correct explanation, friends? No way. This is not correct explanation of the above statement. So, A, B are individually true, but not the correct explanation, my dear friends. Okay. Next, you see the line L has intercepts A and B on the coordinate axis. The coordinate axes are rotated through a fixed angle, keeping the origin fixed. If P and Q are the intercepts of the line L on the new axis, then you see my dear friends, suppose there is a line. So, this is the situation. Suppose x intercept is A, y intercept is B. I can take this line equation like x by A plus y by B is equal to 1. Now, without disturbing origin's position, I can say that axes are rotated by, you see what did he rotate? You see the coordinate axes are rotated through a fixed angle, keeping the origin fixed. So, suppose these are the new coordinate axes. So, this is new origin x axis, y axis, whereas my dear friends, I can say, you see in both the cases line is not moved, origin is not moved. So, he is saying in the second case the intercepts on the line are P and Q. So, you can say in second case x intercept is P, y intercept is Q is equal to 1. Equation changed, but in both the situations origin did not change, line position did not change, and hence in both the cases perpendicular distance from origin onto the line is the same. So, what is the perpendicular distance from origin to the first line? Substitute minus 1 by root of 1 by a square plus 1 by b square is equal to the second situation minus 1 by root of 1 by p square plus 1 by q square, right. So, you just cross multiply and simplify, you will observe that 1 by a square plus 1 by b square is equal to 1 by p square plus 1 by q square, right, and hence this expression becomes 0, my dear friends, right. Next, you see this question, the angle between the lines whose direction cosines are given by the equations. You see L square plus m square minus n square equal to 0, L plus m plus n is equal to 0. My dear friends, you know what we do in this situation. First you try to eliminate one of the variables. From this n can be written as minus L minus m. So, take the first equation L square plus m square minus of, we can say L plus m whole square equal to 0. So, you will get minus 2 Lm is 0, that means two possibilities, either L is 0 or m is 0. Friends, if L is 0, what will you get? M plus n is 0, m is minus n. So, can I take in this situation like L value 0, suppose m here, n will become minus m. So, can I take the drs like 0, 1, 0, 1 minus 1, proportionate numbers. If m is 0, my dear friends, here L plus n is 0, L is equal to minus n. Why don't you take L as minus n, m is 0, n as n. The proportionate numbers are minus 1, 0, 1, right friends. So, 0, 1 minus 1, 1 drs, minus 1, 0, 1, 1 dr, 1 line drs. So, this system of things will be satisfied by drs of two lines, and the angle between them cos theta is equal to a1 a2 plus b1 b2 plus c1 c2 with modulus by root of a square plus b square plus c square, kind of, which is friends 1 by 2. Cos theta 1 by 2 means angle must be 60 degrees. Pi by 3 is the answer, my dear friends. Okay. Next, you see the value of A, so that the volume of the parallelepiped formed by, see, 3 vectors are given. You know, my dear friends, suppose you are given like A bar, B bar, C bar, 3 non-coplanar vectors, the volume of the tetrahedron formed by these 3 as coterminous edges is box ABC with modulus, right. So, friends, here also the volume is given by, you just take box means determinant of 1A1, second one is I is absent, so J is 1, K is A, third one is A01, A01. This is the expression, my dear friends. So, I can say here, you just expand 1 into, you can say 1 1 minus A into 0 minus A square plus 1 into, my dear friends, 0 minus A. So, I can say, my dear friends, A cube, this is minus A plus 1. This is the expression, my dear friends. So, this expression we need to find the value of A, so that this volume becomes minimum. That means for what value of A this expression becomes minimum. So, you just take it as a function, this is A cube minus A plus 1, take its derivative, my dear friends, 3A square minus 1 must be 0. So, that is A must be plus or minus 1 by root 3. Whereas, my dear friends, f double dash of A is 6A. If you want minimum, second derivative must be positive. So, that means A must be positive. You choose A is 1 by root 3. For A is equal to 1 by root 3, this expression is going to be minimum, my dear friends. Okay. Minimum means local minimum. Okay. Next, my dear friends. So, A is sin square theta plus cos power 4 theta, then for all values of theta, this expression. And here this can be done like sin square theta, you write 1 minus cos square theta plus cos power 4 theta. It is like t square minus t plus 1, where t is cos square theta. Cos square theta lies between 0 to 1. So, it is a restricted quadratic expressions range. I suggested one shortcut, just find minus b by 2a, which is 1 by 2. Does it belong to this? Yes. In that case, what you need to do is take extreme values f of 0, f of 1 and 4ac minus b square by 4a. Collect these 3 numbers. Of those, smallest is the minimum, greatest is the maximum. Friends, f of 0 is 1, f of 1 is also 1, 4ac minus b square by 4a is 3 by 4. So, for this expression, minimum is 3 by 4, maximum is 1. So, option 2 is the answer, my dear friends. Okay. Next, so we have done all single correct answer type questions. Now, we will go to integer answer type questions. You see, limit extends to 0, my dear friends. This is, it is very clear, cos x minus 1 by x square into cos x minus e power x by x power n minus 2. Friend, this is the standard one, it is minus 1 by 2. So, remove this. Limit extends to 0. I want this limit to be finite non-zero number. So, cos x expansion is 1 minus x square by 2 factorial plus x power 4 by 4 factorial minus and so on, minus e power expansion is 1 plus x power 1 by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial plus and so on by, my dear friends, x power n minus 2. So, undoubtedly this gets cancelled. Numerator degree is 1, my dear friends. So, denominator degree should also be 1, so that what happens, you know, you will get the limit to be finite non-zero number 1. If numerator degree is more, suppose this is like if this is 1, this is fine. If it is other than that, some x will be, the answer may be 0 or not defined. 3 possibilities: numerator degree less than that of denominator, more than and equal to. So, if they are equal, you are going to get finite 1. If numerator degree is more, you will get 0, less you will get, you see, undefined kind of. So numerator degree is 1 here, so n minus 2 must be 1, so n is equal to 3, my dear friends, that's all. Okay. Next, this question, given these two lines intersect, then the value of k. Arey yaar, how to find the point of intersection of two lines? Let it be equal to t, 2t plus 1, this is 3t minus 1, 4t plus 1 is the general point on the first line. On the second line, let it be some lambda, this is lambda plus 3, this is 2 lambda plus k unknown, this is lambda. So if they intersect for some values of lambda and t, these two must coincide. So here unknown is there, so you put it aside and equate other two, that is 2t plus 1 is equal to lambda plus 3, so this is 2t minus lambda is equal to 2, and equate these two. 4t plus 1 is equal to lambda, that is 4t minus lambda is equal to minus 1. You need to solve these two and find lambda as well as t, my dear friends. So if you just subtract plus plus, these two get cancelled, minus 2t is equal to 3, t is minus 3 by 2. Once you know t is minus 3 by 2, so this is going to be, you can substitute in this, minus 3 by 2 will become minus 3 plus 1 or else here. So 2t is going to be minus 3 minus lambda is equal to 2, lambda is equal to minus 5. So you got t and lambda. Now you just try to equate the other coordinate also, friends. 3t minus 1, 3t is minus 9 by 2 minus 1 is equal to, this is 2 lambda is minus 10 plus k. So friends, you will get k value is 9 minus 9 by 2, which is 9 by 2, and he said accordingly you will get k value, my dear friends, 9 or 10. You just see, this is going to be 10 minus 1, 9, 9 minus 9 by 2. So you just check the calculation, once you will get the answer. The procedure is simple, friends. You just take the general point 2t plus 1, 3t minus 1, 4t plus 1, and lambda plus 3, 2 lambda minus 2 lambda plus k and lambda. These two must be equal, equate x coordinate, z coordinates, two equations you have to get, my dear friends. 2t plus 1 is lambda plus 3, in the sense 2t minus lambda is equal to 2, 4t minus, 4t minus lambda is equal to minus 1. Subtract, friends, this is going to be minus 2t is equal to 3, t is minus 3 by 2. Once you know t value minus 3 by 2, accordingly you try to find lambda. You see, 2t is going to be minus 3 minus lambda is 2, lambda is equal to minus 5. So you just substitute here, 3t minus 1 is equal to minus 9 by 2 minus 1 is equal to, you can say 2 lambda plus k, which is minus 10 plus, he is asking the value of k in fact, my dear friends. So this is going to be 9 minus 9 by 2, and you can round off to nearest one. This is going to be 4.5, right, 4.5. You can round off to the nearest one, this is 5, you can say. Okay. Next, so this question, you see, secant of tan inverse 2 means, secant of tan inverse 2, you can write like, my dear friends, secant of, secant in, you see, secant inverse of, you see 2 means 2 by 1, opposite side by adjacent side it is. So secant means hypotenuse is root 5 by adjacent side is 1. So friend, this is going to be root 5. So square is there, so if it is square, you can take like root 5 square, which is 5. In the same way, my dear friends, cosecant square of cot inverse 3. Cot inverse 3 you can write cosecant inverse of, this is adjacent side by opposite side. So hypotenuse is root 10 by opposite side is 1. So cosecant of cosecant inverse root 10 is root 10, whose square is 10, my dear friends. 10 plus 5, 15 is the answer. Okay. Next, you see this question, little bit of alignment here, this can be rearranged like, you see, this is x, this is y, please observe that. Can I write like 1 minus sine square x whole square plus 1 minus sine cos square y whole square if I write, you see 1 plus 1 will become 2, sin power 4x, cos power 4 phi, these two are done. You are left with minus 2 sin square x, minus 2 cos square y. So, you write plus 2 sin square x plus 2 cos square y, and you are left with minus 4 sin x cos y is equal to 0. Here, my dear friends, you will write 1 minus sin square x whole square plus 1 minus cos square y whole square, right, plus, my dear friends, you just take 2 common, sin square x plus cos square y minus sin x cos y, you can write cos y minus sin x whole square is equal to 0. Sum of 3 squares, non-negative numbers, is 0, means each one must be 0. So, sin square x must be 1, cos square y must be 1, and cos y must be equal to sin x. So, our x and y must satisfy all these 3 constraints simultaneously, but given x is 0 to pi by 2. So, my dear friends, here 0 to pi by 2 sin becomes 1, means x must be pi by 2, y must be 0, that is all. So, cos y is equal to sin x, that is also satisfied. So, friends, sin x means sin pi by 2 1, cos 0 1, 1 plus 1, so 2 is the answer, my dear friends, 2. Okay. Next, you see the number of integral values of a for which this expression possesses a solution. You see, cos 2x you can write like 1 minus 2 sin square x plus a sin x is equal to 2a minus 1. Why don't you prepare a quadratic equation in terms of sin x? This is 2 sin square x minus a sin x, right, plus 2a minus 8 is equal to 0. Now, try to solve this equation, my dear friends. Sin x is equal to, so you just solve this, minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a, which is 4. Friends, if you just simplify this, one solution you will get 2, another one you will get a minus 4 by 2. Yes, just expand this, because this is a square minus 16a plus 32, right. So, you can write that, you can simplify this. So, my dear friends, this is, that is 64, the square root one is a square minus 16a plus 64, that is a minus 8 whole square it is. So, you can write a minus 8 or 8 minus a, you are going to get the same, this is the one. Sin x can never be 2, the only possibility to get this equation to have some solution, this a minus 4 by 2 must be strictly between minus 1 and 1, right. So, from this, my dear friends, 2 less than or equal to a less than or equal to 6, multiply with 2 and add 4. Now, see, integral values he is asking, what are the integer values? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 5 integral values, my dear friends. So, 5 is the answer. Okay. Next, the number of solutions of this trigonometric equation. Friends, cos is always less than or equal to 1, this is also less than or equal to 1. So, their product is 1, in the sense both must be 1. If at least one is not 1, you will not get the product as 1. So, very clear, both must be 1 simultaneously, and undoubtedly x greater than or equal to 4 here, x greater than or equal to 0, common is x greater than or equal to 4. So, cos becomes 1 only at 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, even multiple of pi. For that, my dear friends, it must be an even number, it must be an even number, root x minus 4. So, put x is equal to 4, what will you get? Cos 0 1, cos 2 pi 1, yes, x is equal to 4 is a solution. After that, I have to maintain that x such that this is even integer, this is even integer simultaneously. That means x minus 4 is a perfect square, x is a perfect square. Other than this 0, 4, whatever two perfect squares you take, you can't maintain the difference to be 4, like 2 square 4, 3 square 9, 4 square 16, the gap will be huge time to time. So, That means you can't find any other x where x minus 4 perfect square and x is perfect square. Other than x is, you say x is 4, other than it is impossible, my dear friends. And hence this is the only solution, which is x is equal to 4. Number of solutions is only 1. Okay. Next, the distance between the point, okay, and the point of intersection of line and plane. Are yaar, how to find point of intersection of a line and plane? You take the general point is equal to t, that is 3t plus 2, that is 4t minus 1, this is 12t plus 2, my dear friends. For some value of t, this must lie in the plane. Substitute, friends, x is 3t plus 2, y minus y means minus 4t plus 1, plus z is 12t plus 2 is equal to 5. We just see, friends, 3t plus 12t is 15t minus 4 is 11t. This is 2 plus 2 4 plus 1 5 is equal to 0. This is 4 plus 1 5, so t is equal to 0. When t is 0, my dear friend, this point becomes 2 minus 1 2. He is asking the distance between the given point and this point, my dear friends, which is square root of 9 plus, you see, 16 plus this is 12. You see, this is 12 square 144. You see, 9 plus 16 is 25, that is 5 square plus 12 square will give you finally 13 square under root 13 is the answer, my dear friends. So simple. How to find the point of intersection of a point and plane we have seen. To that point and given point we need to find the distance. Two simple concepts. Next, the projections of a line segment on x, y, z. Suppose, my dear friends, you can say, suppose these are the coordinate axes. You take some line segment, say x1, y1, z1, x2, y2, z2. Okay. The projections of a line segment on x, y, z axis. If you just see the projection of these on x axis, you will get, my dear friends, x1 0 0, x2 0 0. This length is going to be mod x1 minus x2. Projection of the same line segment on y axis is mod y1 minus y2, on z axis is mod z1 minus z2. Given these are simply 2, 3, 6. Now the distance between these 2 points is nothing but in fact square root of x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square plus z1 minus z2 whole square. 36 49 root 49 means 7 is the answer, my dear friends. That's all. Next, you see, the point 3 comma 4 lies on the locus of point of intersection of the lines. Are here, what is this line? X cos alpha plus y sin alpha is A, x sin alpha minus cos y cos alpha is equal to B, right, my dear friends. So here alpha is a parameter, so they represent family of lines. What about the locus of point of intersection? Do remember, when two lines are given with a parameter, if at all you want to find the locus of the point of intersection of the two lines, no need to solve, try to eliminate that parameter, that itself the locus. So you just do squaring and adding these two, my dear friends, you will get x square cos square alpha plus x square sin square alpha is x square and this is y square, 2ab gets cancelled is equal to a square plus b square. This is the locus, friends. Given the point 3 comma 4 lies on the locus, 3 square plus 4 square is equal to a square plus b square. So friends, a square plus b square is equal to 25. Moreover, friends, the point AB lie on this line, that is 3a is equal to 4b. So a is equal to 4b by 3, my dear friends. You can substitute 16b square by 9 plus b square is equal to 25. That is 25b square is equal to 25 into 9. So b square is equal to 9, my dear friends. If b square is equal to 9, b must be plus or minus 3. Okay. B can be 3 or minus 3. If b is 3, my dear friends, you can say here this is the linear relation. You substitute here, a must be 4. If b is minus 3, a must be minus 4. So in both the cases, a plus b, 7 or minus 7, whose modulus is 7 itself. That's all. Okay. Next, friends, the distance of the point 2 comma 3 from the first line is same as its distance from the second line, then the value of positive value of p. You just find distance of 2 3 from this means 8 minus 9 plus 26 by 5. Distance of this from this is equal to, this is going to be 6 minus 12 plus p by, this is also 5, my dear friends. This is 25 is equal to p minus 6 with modulus, my dear friends. So, p can be 26 plus 1 31, p can be 25 minus 6 which is 19, okay. The another minus 19 we can say. Yes, he said the positive value of p, so 31. So, 31 is the answer, my dear friends. So, dear friends, I can say this paper is easy paper. In fact, with respect to the actual mains, if we compare, we can say comparatively bit easy paper. You can comfortably answer 25 questions out of 25 in this question paper. Right, dear students? Thank you.